Chapter 6:21. The green-robed, silver-haired lady waited silently outside the door. After a while, the world deity guard rushed over and said, "The Emperor has summoned you. Follow me quickly." The green-robed, silver-haired lady took a deep breath and entered the mansion. They flew into the mansion and came to a garden specially used to welcome guests. Reporting to the Emperor, "The person is here," the world deity guard said respectfully. The azure-robed, silver-haired woman also saw a black-robed man standing in the distance, looking at the flowers and plants in the distance. The black-robed man turned around and looked at her. The lines of his face were clear, and his eyes were gentle, but the invisible aura he exuded made her feel fear from the bottom of her heart. Dongwu Shui Ying's aura was too strong for her. Junior Chun Yu greets the Emperor. The green-robed, silver-haired lady bowed respectfully. Shuang first glanced at the world deity protector. The world deity protector immediately bowed and left. "You said you have the precious materials I need?" Dongwu Shuang asked. "Yes," the green-robed, silver-haired lady said. "I just heard that the Emperor wants the jade heart grass root and the 7-leaf stone fruit. Hence I rushed over." Dongwu Shuang sighed. It had been 16,000 years since he released the news, and this Stage 2 world deity had just heard about it. It was obvious that news spread much slower among world deities. This was also related to this lady's low strength. Some of the stronger Stage 4 world deities probably knew about it. "What kind of precious material do you have?" Dongwu Shuing asked. "Jade heart grass root." The green-robed, silver-haired woman stretched out her hand, and a plant that glowed with a dark green light appeared in her hand. The plant's roots were very long, and each root was curved like a dragon or snake. There were even illusory green dragons swimming around the roots. Shuang revealed a grin. "Very good. After obtaining the root of the jade heart grass from the 12 types of precious materials, there was only one left. Speak, what do you want?" Dongwu Shuang asked. "Divine crystal? Treasure? Or something else?" The green-robed, silver-haired lady raised her head and looked at Dongwu Shuang. Her eyes filled with desire. "I want the Imperial Emperor to help me kill an enemy." "Kill my enemies?" Dongwu Shuang was taken aback. "I don't need anything else. I just want you to help me kill my enemy. After we kill the enemy, we will offer the jade heart grass to the Celestial Emperor," the green-robed, silver-haired woman said. She also believed that with Dongwu Shui Ying's status, he would not do something like snatching. Shui Ying asked, "This enemy of yours, what is his identity? What kind of strength? Tell me the details." The green-robed, silver-haired girl said in a low voice, "I came from a desolate place outside the territory of the bloodshed god palace. My enemy is called world deity Mo Ba, and he was originally a demon from the dark abyss. He later came to the deity world and stayed there. He had the strength of a Stage 3 world deity. He should be able to rank at the top of the 3rd heaven. He is extremely bloodthirsty and ruthless. He has killed countless people, and many of my loved ones and clansmen have been massacred by him. I was fortunate to cultivate outside and escape from this calamity. I only hope that the Imperial Emperor can kill him." A Stage 3 world deity? Dongwu Shuing lightly nodded. He understood many world deities, but he did not know of this world deity Mo Ba. He is a demon, and the reason why he could take root in the deity world is because he relied on the Devil Dragon King. The green-robed, silver-haired girl respectfully said, "The Devil Dragon King is a powerful existence, and world deity Mo Ba is a valiant general under him. He is quite favored by the Devil Dragon King." "Which Devil Dragon King is a subordinate?" Dongwu Shuing lightly nodded. "This devil dragon loves killing the most. It is no wonder that he would accept a demon as a subordinate." The dark abyss repelled experts from the deity world. The moment they entered, they would be surrounded and attacked by experts led by the will of the dark abyss. But the deity world was different. The deity world was inclusive, and no matter which superpower experts entered the deity world, they would not be rejected. Thus, within the deity world, there were still some experts from the dark abyss. For example, There were experts from the Dark Abyss who chased after Monarch Mo Shui previously. All right, I understand. Donghua Shuang nodded. The green-robed, silver-haired girl was startled. What did he mean by understand? Did he agree to kill him or not? Or did he intend to snatch it by force? This monarch Donghua was the personal disciple of God Emperor. With such a great reputation, he should not be so despicable, right? Let me check first and understand a thing or two. Then I will give you an answer. Donghua Shuang smiled. Come, 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 have a cup of tea first. The maid who was waiting not far away immediately went forward to help pour the tea. Donghua Shuang also sat down and picked up a cup of tea. At the same time, he started to understand the detailed information through the Bloodshed Tavern system. Very soon, he received the news. The Devil Dragon King resided in the Devil Dragon Ridge. Legend has it that there was an army in the Devil Dragon Ridge that was commanded by the Devil Dragon King. In the army, there was a general called Universe Deity Mo Ba. As Universe Deity Mo Ba was a demon, he was extremely warlike and ruthless and was loved by the Devil Dragon King. One of his doppelgangers actually stayed in the Devil Dragon Ridge for a long period of time. Donghua Shuang frowned slightly. That was troublesome. If he wanted to kill, he would naturally kill both his original body and doppelgangers. Looking at Universe Deity Mo Ba's information, he deserved to be killed. However, there was a doppelganger in the Devil Dragon King's lair. Devil Dragon King. Donghua Shuang muttered softly. Although his voice was soft, the green-robed, silver-haired girl who was holding a cup of tea also looked towards Donghua Shuang carefully. Wang. The moment Donghua Shuang muttered the Devil Dragon King's name, an extremely minute karma was formed between him and the Devil Dragon King. Through this karma line, Donghua Shuang's consciousness quickly extended over. It passed through the obstruction of space and arrived at a rather desolate starfield in the divine world. In this desolate starfield, there was a continuous mountain range. This continuous mountain range that spanned trillions of miles was the Devil Dragon Ridge. The Devil Dragon King had been operating there for a very long time, and ordinary almighties would definitely not dare to trespass. The Devil Dragon King's huge body was sitting on the peak of a mountain. In front of him were plates of delicacies, and he would occasionally lower his head to eat a plate. Even though he had become an almighty, he did not change his love for delicacies. The Devil Dragon King suddenly raised his head and looked in front of him. Wang. A blurry figure suddenly appeared in midair. The figure was condensing, and it was a black-robed man standing in midair. He was looking at the Devil Dragon King calmly. Donghua Shuang. The Devil Dragon King immediately recognized him. This person in front of him was the famous Donghua Shuang. Even though he, the Devil Dragon King, was slightly weaker, he was still ranked 95th on the Cosmos Deity Demon list. Naturally, he knew of this Monarch Donghua, who was ranked 52nd. I wonder why Monarch Donghua is looking for me. The Devil Dragon King lifted his head and asked. At the same time, his gaze swept around. Those subordinates that served the delicacies immediately retreated obediently. None of them dared to disturb him. On this mountain peak, only the Devil Dragon King and Donghua Shuang were left. Donghua Shuang was merely an incarnation that descended by relying on karma. It was just like how ordinary deities could use spatial imprints to project themselves in the material world. Even though Donghua Shuang and the Devil Dragon King were far apart, they were both within the divine world. Relying on the karma line to condense an incarnation here was indeed an easy task. I am here to see the Devil Dragon King for a matter. Donghua Shuang said. It was time. Chapter 622. Your Majesty, please speak. The Demon Dragon King was slightly cautious. Although he had no enmity with this Emperor Dongbo, they were not on the same side. Donghua Shuang stood in midair and looked at the Demon Dragon King. You have a subordinate called Mo Ba. Is he from the Dark Abyss? Yes. The Demon Dragon King nodded. Why? Your Majesty, why are you concerned about him? Shuang nodded. I was originally prepared to kill him, but knowing that he is your subordinate, Devil Dragon King, if I didn't inform Devil Dragon King before killing him, I would be in the wrong. The Demon Dragon King's large eyes narrowed, and he laughed. Ha ha, Your Majesty, you are giving me face. It's just a demon, so I killed him. Your Majesty, there is no need to be so courteous. How about this? I will personally deal with Embark. How about this? Thank you, Demon Dragon King. Dongbua Shuang smiled. It's a small matter. The Demon Dragon King laughed. Dongbua Shuang nodded and smiled. If Demon Dragon King is free, feel free to visit my residence. I will definitely accompany you for a few drinks. I will definitely visit when I am free. The Demon Dragon King replied. Dongbua Shuang smiled, and his figure disappeared. Only the Demon Dragon King was left on the mountain peak. Only then did the Demon Dragon King's huge eyes turn cold, emitting a cold intent. He was an old man who had lived for countless years. How could he not understand Dongbua Shuang's meaning? Dongbua Shuang's words were very clear. I was prepared to kill him. It was obvious that he was filled with killing intent. If he forcefully rejected, he would offend this Emperor Dongbo. Since this Emperor Dongbo said this in advance, it was obvious that he had no intention of becoming enemies. For the sake of Embark, he was willing to fall out with Monarch Dongbo. The Demon Dragon King would not do such a thing no matter how stupid he was. Embark, quickly come and see me, the Demon Dragon King ordered. Soon, south, a demon with two huge curved horns and black scales appeared. He knelt down respectfully and said, Greetings, Your Majesty. Universe deity Embark was still very satisfied with his current life. He was originally living in the dark abyss. However, when one of his enemies heard that he had broken through to the stage for heaven, he was so frightened that he immediately fled. He escaped from the dark abyss to the divine world and sought refuge under the fierce Demon Dragon King. As expected, their temperaments were compatible. The demonic Dragon King valued him greatly. How comfortable! Universe deity Embark was delighted in his heart. In the deity world, he could kill if he wanted to and enjoy if he wanted to. Behind him was a powerful existence. His days here were much better than in the dark abyss. Embark, the Demon Dragon King said in a low voice. Have you ever offended Monarch Dongbo? Monarch Dongbo, world deity Embark was startled. Bloodshed God Palace's Monarch Dongbo? I've heard of him, but I don't have any dealings with him. I don't dare to offend Emperor Lord Dongbo either. The Demon Dragon King sighed inwardly. Who cares? Who cares how he offended him? Dongbua Shuang had personally met him to talk about this matter. Who? The Demon Dragon King waved his claw. The claw instantly pierced through the obstruction of space. World deity Embark revealed a look of terror. He wanted to dodge, yet he discovered that the surrounding space had completely suppressed him. He could not move at all. He could only watch as the claw slapped onto his body. Why? World deity Embark's heart was filled with terror and confusion. He faintly guessed that it might be related to offending Monarch Dongbo. But it was too late. Under the huge claw's attack, the space where world deity Embark was like a piece of paper being shredded. It shattered into countless pieces before turning into nothingness. At the same time, in another luxurious palace, the other avatar of world deity Embark, who was currently enjoying, was similarly attacked by karma in terror. The divine world was not the material world. There was no protection in the divine world. The Demon Dragon King, this old dragon, could be listed on the universe deity demon list. His attainments in karma were extremely profound. The power transmitted through karma caused world deity Embark's avatar to instantly die. His body fell, but his true deity heart was already destroyed. At the level of a ruler, through karma, even an existence close to a paragon could be killed forcefully. Of course, it was a different story if one had the protection of the material world. In the material world, a ruler could only kill a stage 2 heaven with a thought. With the help of an oath, he could kill a stage 3 heaven. An ordinary almighty could only kill a stage 1 world deity through karma. But if it was in the divine world, the karma attack of the almighties was equally terrifying. In Monarch Dongbo's residence, the green-robed, silver-haired lady held a teacup and took a sip. She looked at Dongbua Shui Ying, who was sitting nearby and drinking tea. She was anxious and nervous. I was too careless. I should have hidden the jade heartgrass first. When Monarch Dong Bo kills my enemy, I will give it to him. I trusted Monarch Dong Bo too much. I believed that with his status, he would not snatch it forcefully, but now, he did not even give me a reply. He should at least give me a reply. As long as he agrees, I believe that killing world deity Mo Ba won't be difficult. Could it be that he is afraid of Demon Dragon King? All right, world deity Mo Ba has an avatar that lives in Demon Dragon Ridge. Maybe it would be troublesome for Monarch Dongbo to kill a stage 3 world deity in Demon Dragon Ridge. The green-robed, silver-haired lady was worried. After all, what she could do was too little. All right, Dongbua Shuang, who was sitting opposite, suddenly spoke. The green-robed, silver-haired lady's spirit rose. She looked at Dongbua Shuang. Was he going to give her a reply? World deity Mo Ba is dead. Dongbua Shuang said, "Your request has been fulfilled." Dead? The green-robed, silver-haired lady lowered her head and looked at the teacup in her hand. She had yet to finish the tea in the teacup. She had just made her request, and world deity Mo Ba was dead? Look, Dongbua Shuang pointed at the sky beside him. The space in the sky was distorted. From a distance, it was transmitted to a luxurious palace far away. The luxurious palace was in a state of panic. The master of the palace, world deity Mo Ba, was lying on the ground without any signs of life. This is Mo Ba's demon palace? The green-robed, silver-haired lady looked at the scene in shock. This is one of his avatars. His original body is dead, and his avatar was destroyed through karma. Hence, his body is intact, but his divine heart is destroyed. Dongbua Shuang explained. The moment Mo Ba died, Dongbua Shuang determined that he was dead through karma. The green-robed, silver-haired lady looked at the body of world deity Mo Ba, who used to be ferocious and overbearing, lying there without moving. She felt complicated. At that moment, she had almost no more doubts. Emperor Dongbua didn't need to fake such a scene. He had no choice but to snatch it from her directly. "Thank you, Emperor." The green-robed, silver-haired lady offered the jade heartgrass. Dongbua Shuang smiled and accepted it. Although the green-robed, silver-haired lady believed him, she still sent her original body to the temporal palace to purchase information. The temporal palace replied, "World deity Mo Ba's original body and avatar were destroyed. The death of his original body is suspected to be related to the Demon Dragon King. His avatar was destroyed through karma." This result shocked the green-robed, silver-haired lady. Could it be the Demon Dragon King? She felt slightly startled. An existence like Monarch Dongbo was indeed formidable. She went to ask him for a favor, yet before she could even finish drinking a cup of tea, Monarch Dongbo was still sitting in front of her, and world deity Mo Ba died. Dongbua Shuang only lacked the last precious material, the 7-leaf stone fruit. It was useless for him to be anxious. He could only wait in silence. He hoped that a universe deity would send the treasure over after receiving the news. To Dongbua Shuang, he wasn't afraid of the universe deities raising any conditions. After all, he could satisfy all the conditions of the precious material. It wasn't to the extent that anyone would be so arrogant to the point of wanting to learn an absolute art just for a precious material. Dongbua Shuang would chase him out immediately. Time passed. 60,000 years after the establishment of the mansion, the last of the precious materials had finally arrived. "I have the precious material that the emperor needs. Please inform him." A handsome young man stood at the entrance of the Emperor Dongbua mansion. Asterisk second update. Chapter 6:23. After a short while, Dongbua Shuang, who knew that there was hope for the last piece of precious material, saw the young man. World God in the first heaven. Dongbua Shuang was shocked. This time around, his strength was even lower. "Greetings, Emperor Dongbua." The handsome young man stood there respectfully. "I heard that the emperor needed the 7-leaf stone fruit, so I rushed over. Finally, I made it here alive." Dongbua Shuang was stunned. Made it here alive? That's right. The handsome young man was too weak. He was only at the first heaven. If he had rushed over from a secluded place, it would have been dangerous. You have the 7-leaf stone fruit? Dongbua Shuang asked. Yes. The handsome young man's eyes lit up and he nodded. I got it by luck. However, because the journey was dangerous, the 7-leaf stone fruit is with my main body. Dongbua Shuang smiled and nodded. Speak, what request do you have? Divine crystal? Treasure? Or something else? The handsome young man said respectfully, I don't need any treasure. I hope to be a disciple of the emperor and receive pointers. Without pointers, I'm afraid that becoming a world god in the second heaven will be the end of my life. Disciple? Dongbua Shuang was slightly shocked. Then, he came to a realization. To an ordinary world god in the first heaven, what they desired the most was to find a powerful teacher. It would be best if the teacher was an expert. I have only cultivated for a short period of time, and there are many things to do. I'm afraid I won't have enough time to teach you. The moment Dongbua Shuang said that, the handsome young man's face turned pale. Dongbua Shuang continued, but I can introduce you to a better teacher than me. Then, Dongbua Shuang transmitted a message to Chihua Laozu. Chihua Laozu had been staying in the mansion for the past few years. After he received the message from Dongbua Shuang, he knew that the last piece of precious material was with the young man. Naturally, he rushed over without hesitation. Whoosh! Chihua Laozu arrived at the garden. Dongbua Shuang pointed at Chihua Laozu and said, Kid, this is the transcendent almighty being Chihua Laozu. Almighties controlled the complete rules of heaven and earth. But no matter what, I have never transcended. He is much more suitable to teach disciples than I am. The handsome young man's eyes lit up. Becoming a disciple of a powerful being? That's great too. Although Emperor Dongbo was extremely famous and powerful, the Emperor Dongbo's strength was not to be underestimated. But what he said made sense. After all, Emperor Dongbo was only a universe god of the fourth heaven. In terms of teaching disciples, he might not be as good as the almighty Chihua Laozu. Old ancestor, he has only cultivated for 30 million years. He can be considered as a promising talent. Dongbua Shuang said. Not bad. Chihua Laozu smiled and nodded. Kid, what's your name? My name is Chi Qiong. The handsome young man said. Chi Qiong, I shall accept you as my disciple. You stay here for now. I'll go to your place to retrieve the 7-leaf stone fruit. Chihua Laozu said before leaving. He had formed a karmic connection with this young man. Through this karmic connection, he would naturally know where the other party's true body was. The handsome young man hurriedly said, Master, my true body is at. Before he could finish, Chihua Laozu had already disappeared. The handsome young man looked at Dongbua Shuang with a puzzled expression. Emperor, my master knows where I am. He knows. Dongbua Shuang smiled and nodded. An hour later, Chihua Laozu returned with the 7-leaf stone fruit. Good. Everything is ready. Only the final step is left. Dongbua Shuang received the 7-leaf stone fruit and revealed a smile. Old ancestor, you are a good disciple. I'll be heading out for a while. Controlling the Starfield flying ship, Dongbua Shuang left the Black Fog Sea and headed towards Ripple Lady Planet Lord's residence. Who? Standing at the bow of the Starfield flying ship, looking at the colorful spatial passageway, Dongbua Shuang contacted Paragon Huacheng. Paragon Huacheng had long returned to his residence. Even Dongbua and Qingyao had been brought by him to be guided in their cultivation. Big brother Huacheng. Dongbua Shuang transmitted, I'm heading out now to visit Ripple Lady Planet Lord. From what I know, Ripple Lady Planet Lord is focused on forging artifacts and rarely goes out. She is also very cold to other cultivators. I'm going to ask her for help. I wonder if Big Brother Huacheng has any good ideas? That will be troublesome. The star she resides in was personally arranged by Empress Qianhe. There are many important places for forging artifacts. However, it also makes that star extremely dangerous. Even the apex paragons don't dare to barge in. Paragon Huacheng said, we can't use force. We can only go along with her character. I'm afraid that she might not even want to meet us. Amen. Dongbua Shuang nodded. This was indeed a difficult problem. According to the intelligence, there were some powerful existences that went to visit Ripple Lady Planet Lord, but they couldn't even meet her face. This Ripple Lady Star Master was famous for her indifference. She was not only indifferent to ordinary powerful existences. She wasn't just cold towards ordinary powerful existences. Even the powerful paragons treated her coldly. Perhaps only rulers with their heaven-defying strength could make her feel fear. She didn't dare to be negligent. With her character like this, she was instead doted on by Empress Qianhe. Currently, Dongbua Shui Ying's attainments in space-time were extremely deep. Controlling the Starfield flying ship, he merely took the time to brew a cup of tea to reach a desolate area in the deity world. In the void, there was a faint black star. There were no other stars in the vast area. This black star caused the surrounding void to seem to freeze. Boundless cold air spread out, covering an area of 1 trillion miles. Sela, within the space-time tunnel, the Starfield flying ship flew out. A black-robed Dongbua Shui Ying stood on the Starfield flying ship, looking at the distant cold black star. Ripple Lady Star? Dongbua Shui Ying understood. This was the residence of Ripple Lady Planet Lord, who was the most proficient in smithing amongst the paragons. Keeping the flying ship, Dongbua Shui Ying stepped on the void and tore through the void, rapidly approaching that Ripple Lady Star. South, when he neared the Ripple Lady Star, waves of water rippled in the surroundings. The void water ripples spread out, causing even Dongbua Shui Ying to feel a faint threat. However, he didn't resist. He just allowed the void water ripples to spread past his body. Within the void water ripples, a white-robed elder appeared. The white-robed elder looked at Dongbua Shui Ying and smiled. This is the Ripple Lady Star. My master doesn't meet guests easily. I'll have to trouble you to report that Dongbua Shui Ying is here to see you, Shui Ying said. Please wait here. Don't advance any further. If you advance any further and get killed by the array, don't blame me for not reminding you. The white-robed elder smiled and disappeared. Dongbua Shui Ying understood that the white-robed elder wasn't a true life form. He was merely an artifact spirit or an array spirit. Looking at the void water ripples around the Ripple Lady Star, he couldn't help but sigh. Empress Qianhe really likes her. I heard that she had set up many arrays on this star. Just this array alone might not be able to break my armor, but it could easily imprison me. Even peak paragons didn't dare to barge in. One could see how powerful this Ripple Lady Star was. On the Ripple Lady Star, a snow-white robe lady was lying on a huge leaf. She held a book in her hands and was reading the array on the book. Beside her, there were 2 maids serving her. Wah! The white-robed elder appeared at the side and bowed respectfully. Master, there's a guest who wishes to meet you. Who? The snow-white robed lady raised her eyebrows. Her eyes were gentle. He said that his name is Dongbua Shui Ying. The white-robed elder said. As an array spirit, he indeed didn't know who Dongbua Shui Ying was. Dongbua Shui Ying? The snow-white robed lady frowned. That's the personal disciple of Bloodblade. I heard that Empress, Temporal Island Lord, and Myriad God Palace Head joined hands to deal with Bloodblade and Ruler Nile. One of Ruler Nile's avatars died in battle, and Bloodblade fled pathetically. This caused him to be extremely furious. He, a disciple of Bloodblade, actually wants to meet me? Third. Chapter 624. A female attendant by the side said, Master, I've heard that Dongbua Shui Ying has collected many precious materials, and I've also heard that he won a Sunstar Nucleus Stone. Now that he has come to visit Master, it should be because he has collected all the precious materials and is asking Master to help him refine a Sunstar Nucleus Stone. Ripple Lady Planet Master nodded and looked outside. Her gaze pierced through space and saw the black-robed man in the void outside the star. Dongbua Shui Ying. Ripple Lady Planet Master pondered. The fastest genius to become a stage 3-world deity in the history of the deity world and abyss. Bring him in. Yes. The white-robed old man said respectfully. Ripple Lady Planet Master had not told her subordinates that this Dongbua Shui Ying was one of the 2 members of the Army of Destruction. Ripple Lady Planet Master felt that such a person should not be unable to transcend and was worth meeting. In a void. Please follow me. Do not wander around. The white-robed old man led. All right. Dongbua Shuang followed behind and soon descended on this star. This gloomy and cold star was too desolate. In the distance, one could see a deep blue flame burning. One could also see a region shrouded in mist, and there were also black liquid lakes. These strange regions were mostly important places that the Ripple Lady Planet Master used to refine artifacts. Many of them were personally arranged by Empress Qianhe. Danger lurked everywhere. There was a building complex that occupied an area of 5,000 kilometers. For a paragon to live in such a small area was indeed too small. There were some deities and world deities living here, obeying Ripple Lady Planet Master's orders. This way, the white-robed old man continued to lead. Finally, Dongbua Shuang saw a snow-white-robed woman lying on a huge soft leaf. She was barefooted and reading a book. Beside her were two beautiful maids. Greetings, Ripple Lady Planet Master. Dongbua Shuang naturally recognized her. Dongbua Shuang? Ripple Lady Planet Master raised her head and glanced. Don't you know that Empress Qianhe, Myriad God Palace Master, and Temporal Island Master joined hands to fight against Ruler Nile and your teacher Bloodblade? Your teacher and the rest suffered a great loss. Although hundreds of thousands of years had passed. To hegemons, however, it was true that they had just fought. Dongbua Shuang was taken aback. He really didn't know that Empress Qian he had supported his revered Master Bloodblade during the Myriad Flower Feast. You really don't know. Ripple Lady Planet Master continued. You came to see me for the Sun Star Nucleus Stone. Dongbua Shuang nodded straightforwardly. That's right. I've prepared the void black soil and the 12 supplementary materials. I hope that Star-Lord can help me condense a Sunstar core stone from the soil. 0.5 kilogram is enough. Star-Lord, feel free to state your conditions. Ripple Lady Planet Master looked at him. The refinement and extraction process is extremely complicated. Do you think I will agree? What do you have that's worth me mentioning? Dongbua Shuang's expression remained unchanged. No matter what, I have to try. If there's no other way, I can only turn around and leave. A 1 kilogram sun, star core stone? Ripple Lady Planet Master said softly. It's not impossible for me to help, but you have to agree to 3 of my conditions. Please speak. Dongbua Shuang said. The other party could raise as many requests as she wanted, but whether or not he would agree was still up to him. 1. Let my disciple learn the first half of your blood demon scripture. Ripple Lady Planet Master said. Absolute arts were extremely rare, and although she had become a paragon, she did not have the original copy. That's not difficult. Dongbua Shuang said. 2. Ripple Lady Planet Master waved her hand, and a gray light flew towards Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua Shuang grabbed it, and in his hand was a tattered cloth scroll. This is an incomplete array. Ripple Lady Planet Master said. I've heard that you're very proficient in the profound mysteries of the world. I hope that you can help me repair this array. As for time, there's no rush. Stage 4 world deities have a lifespan of 10 billion years. Then I'll give you 10 billion years. Help me repair this array within 10 billion years. If you're unable to repair it, then you can return the Sunstar Nucleus Stone to me. Hearing the 10 billion year deadline, Dongbua Shuang relaxed. But if he failed, then he would have to return the Sunstar Nucleus Stone to Ripple Lady Planet Master. Dongbua Shuang immediately lowered his head to look at the tattered cloth scroll in his hand. There was an incomplete array drawn on the cloth scroll. As he looked at the array and immersed himself in it, Dongbua Shuang felt his vision turning blurry and illusory. Gradually, he seemed to have entered a vast world. This world was mostly complete. There were still parts that were incomplete. The sky was collapsing, turning into a gray fog. This incomplete world was filled with raging flames. It was overbearing and fierce, and even gave Dongbua Shuang a feeling that it was above that of Paragon Huocheng. This incomplete array was obtained from the ruins? Dongbua Shuang asked. It was bestowed by the Empress. As for where it came from, I don't know. Ripple Lady Planet Master said. Do you agree to the second condition? Dongbua Shui Ying asked. Then what about the third condition? The third condition? I haven't thought of it yet. Ripple Lady Planet Master said. How about this for the third condition? You owe me a favor. Favor? Dongbua Shui Ying hesitated. A favor could be big or small. Don't worry, I won't be too harsh. When the time comes, if I ask you to do something, if my request is too much, you can reject it. Ripple Lady Planet Master smiled. No need for an oath? Dongbua Shui Ying asked. I believe you. Ripple Lady Planet Master said. From the information she had on Dongbua Shui Ying, she had already deduced that he was a person who valued relationships and would keep his promises. He wasn't like those cunning demons in the dark abyss, and he wasn't like her empress who would turn hostile whenever she wanted. Dongbua Shui Ying was someone who could be trusted. Ripple Lady Planet Master's last condition was just casually mentioned. If in the future, Dongbua Shui Ying's strength was monstrous, then this condition would be worth it. If Dongbua Shui Ying's strength wasn't enough, then it was as if she didn't say anything. 3 conditions, right? Dongbua Shui Ying asked. As long as I agree, you'll help me condense the Sunstar nucleus stone? Ripple Lady Planet Master nodded. Dongbua Shui Ying, I have to remind you, the refinement process is extremely complicated, and you can't be the slightest bit careless. Once you're careless, you'll fail. Therefore, you have to give me more void black soil, just 12 million genes of void black soil. The entire refinement process will take at least 500,000 years. When the time comes, I'll let you know. All right. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. I agree to your 3 conditions. Then it's a deal. It's a deal. Ripple Lady Planet Master smiled. She felt that this young Dongbua Shui Ying, who was also a member of the Army of Destruction like Peng Yi, was worth her effort. Both sides came to an agreement. Dongbua Shui Ying left behind 12 million genes of void black soil and 12 precious materials, then left the Ripple Lady Planet with a tattered cloth scroll. Standing at the head of the starry sky, flying ship, traversing through the time-space tunnel, Dongbua Shui Ying was in an extremely good mood. After spending 60,000 years, he still had to repair that broken ancient array, as well as the promise of favors and so on. Finally, everything was settled. Dongbua Shui Ying revealed a smile. In order to repay Chihuahua Laozu's kindness back then, he didn't hesitate to do all of this. I was lucky to be able to succeed. Ripple Lady Planet Master agreed to help me. Although the conditions are not small, it's still rare. Dongbua Shui Ying smiled. Chapter 6:25. Time was heartless. To cultivators, time would polish them, allowing them to comprehend more profound laws, allowing them to comprehend stronger Taoists, becoming stronger and stronger. But if they could not transcend, the flow of time would bring them closer to death. Jing Qiu. Dongbua Shui Ying looked at the light blue-robed figure standing by the lake. Although her back was facing him, Dongbua Shui Ying could see the tears in his wife's eyes. Snow Eagle. The tears in Jing Qiu's eyes instantly disappeared. She turned and squeezed out a smile at her husband. Tomorrow, father-in-law will only reincarnate. Didn't you awaken after you reincarnated? Maybe father-in-law is the same. Maybe the reincarnation experience caused his mental state to change, allowing him to transcend. Dongbua Shui Ying consoled her. Amen, I know. But the chances of success in reincarnation are extremely low. Jing Qiu looked at the lake, her eyes red. I am father's first daughter. He treated me like a treasure, taking care of me at all times. He didn't even trust his servants. I can clearly remember him coaxing me to sleep when I was young. I remember him feeding me, teaching me sword techniques. Even when he was old and close to death, he still went to Lake Hard Island to fight for me, and even obtained a true god weapon. Every time I see a true god weapon, I will think of Father. In this world, there are only a few who truly love me and are willing to give up their lives for me. Jing Qiu looked at Dongbua Shui Ying. Other than you, Snow Eagle, there might only be my father left. And now, Father is choosing to reincarnate. Dongbua Shui Ying held his wife's hand. You are also a cultivator. You should understand that we have already obtained a lot. Father-in-law has also obtained a lot. You should know how to be satisfied. Amen, I know. Jing Xiao didn't say anything, but her mood was still rather gloomy. The second day, one by one, they came, including Monarch, Mo, Shue's daughters and son-in-law, as well as some good friends. Of course, his grandchildren came too. Father, grandfather, old ancestor. Dongbui Yu and Dongbui Qingyao also came. Now, Dongbui Shuang was even more reserved. There was a beautiful purple-robed woman by his side, and there were some young people following behind him. Some of these young people were calling Dongbui Shuang patriarch. Dongbui Shuang couldn't help but smile. He didn't expect that his son would be stuck at a bottleneck again after going out to explore the world after experiencing a setback in his relationship. However, after 120,000 years, he met the purple-clothed woman, Palace Master Wan He. Palace Master Wan He was a universe god of the first heaven. After Dongbo Yu and Palace Master Wan He became husband and wife, his power increased tremendously. Within a single day, he had comprehended two grade 1 deity hearts, the Extremity Deity Heart and the Chaos Deity Heart, becoming a stage 2 world deity. Even faster than his sister Dongbua and Qingyao. Dongbui Shuang was shocked. Although his son had reached a bottleneck in these two deity hearts, he didn't expect to break through in a single day. After that, Dongbui Yu and Palace Master when he had a son and a daughter. After that, there was an endless number of descendants, and now it had been 510,000 years since Dongbui Shuang established his residence. He finally had a large number of descendants. Ha ha ha! Qingyao, your big brother Hua Cheng's disciple. Don't lose to your brother. Dongbui Shuang looked at his daughter and laughed. Don't worry. He only broke through because he has little sister Wan He. This credit belongs to little sister Wan He. Next, I, as his sister, will surpass him. Dongbui Qingyao and the purple-robed woman spoke at the same time. Dongbui Yu was very reserved. However, he was used to bickering with his sister. He couldn't help but reply, "You should find man. I'm afraid he'll surpass me in cultivation. Little sister Wan He, you should discipline your man. Look, he actually dares to expose his sister's scars." Dongbui Qingyao said. The purple-robed woman, Wan He, just smiled. She didn't say anything. Back then, she had met Dongbui Yu when she was roaming the deity world. The relationship between the two gradually deepened. At first, she had even concealed her aura to hide her identity as a world deity. Later on, when both of them were honest with each other, she discovered that her man's background was frightening. Snow Eagle, Eternal Wind. Dongbui Shuang also saw Qi Qiu Bai and his wife walking over. You guys rush back too? Dongbui Shuang laughed. Senior Mo Shui once gave me some pointers. How could I not return? Qi Qiu Bai replied. Qi Qiu Bai's talent was extremely high. Back when his soul was split into two, he was able to comprehend a grade 2 true meaning without the guidance of a powerful teacher. He also experienced the terrifying torture in the dark abyss. When the howling devil cult leader cultivated the blood demon scripture, many vengeful spirits stronger than him were eventually devoured. This terrifying torture was also a great tempering. When he could finally be with his true love, Qi Qiu Bai's combat power began to rise by leaps and bounds. He rapidly became a deity with a grade 2 deity heart, then evolved with it. After his resurrection, he became a world deity 80,000 years later. He became a stage 2 world deity in just 350,000 years. Even though he was far from being comparable to Dongbui Shuang and was slightly weaker than some grade 1 true meaning transcendence, it was already an amazing feat. Forefather Fierce Tyrant came knocking on his door and requested to be accepted as a disciple. Dongbui Shuang also supported him from the side. Qi Qiu Bai did not hesitate and became Forefather Fierce Tyrant's personal disciple. Forefather Fierce Tyrant was overjoyed. He said, "Eternal Wind, cultivate well. If you need any treasures or secret techniques, just tell me." Dongbui Shuang was very happy about this. Qi Qiu Bai, after experiencing so many trials and tribulations, was finally starting to shine. It was just that whether or not he could become a stage 4 world deity was still hard to say. transcending would be even more difficult. Guests arrived one after another. They all had some relationship with Monarch Mo Shui, and some were even Monarch Mo Shui's old subordinates. Hundreds of people were bustling with activity. Finally, Monarch Mo Shui walked out. He was still dressed in a thick black robe. His white hair and beard were not messy at all. Looking at this large group of friends who had gathered to send him off, Monarch Mo Shui revealed a smile. He said in a clear voice, "Everyone." Everyone quietened down and looked at him. "Thank you everyone for coming to send me off." Monarch Mo Shui laughed. "I, Mo Shui, have risen from humble beginnings. Killing and fighting my way up, I've established a country in the deity world. The 7 daughters I've taught have all become world deities. Jing Xiu, 7th Mei Yu, and the other daughters all looked at their father. Even though his later daughters were not as pampered as his eldest daughter, Monarch Mo Shui had indeed spent a lot of effort on them. Otherwise, how could they all become world deities? I've experienced too much and obtained too much. I've long since been satisfied." Monarch Mo Shui laughed. "Unfortunately, I've sunk into the river of time. If I don't transcend, my true deity heart will eventually collapse. I've lived long enough, so it's time for me to leave. Of course, even if I leave, I'll still have to fight one last time before reincarnating. All right, I won't say anything more to everyone." Monarch Mo Shui laughed. His body began to emit light as he began to decompose. His true deity heart also began to decompose. Jing Xiu's hand, which was holding onto Dongbua Shui Ying's hand, suddenly tightened. Her body was trembling slightly. Dongbua Shui Ying watched silently. Even though his father-in-law had studied the blood demon scripture, he was still unable to stop this. He could only choose the last path with the slimmest hope: reincarnation. Wang. After the collapse of his true deity heart, the remaining bit of light finally disappeared. Dongbua Shui Ying could faintly see the incomparably vast laws of the universe taking away that bit of light. Monarch Mo Shui had already reincarnated. Perhaps he had already entered the stomach of some motherly being. Good luck. Dongbua Shui Ying silently wished him well. Cultivators were originally like this. If they wanted to walk further, they would face even more tribulations. Only by breaking through layer upon layer of tribulations would they be able to obtain even more. There had never been anyone who could achieve great things so easily. After Monarch Mo Shui reincarnated 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 10,000 years, there was no more news of Monarch Mo Shui. Dongbua Shui Ying and the rest also understood that Monarch Mo Shui's reincarnation had most likely failed. Jing Xiu, as a stage 4 world deity, had also experienced life and death parting. Under the accompaniment of Dongbua Shui Ying, she also accepted everything. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, it was already 690,000 years after Dongbua Shui Ying established his residence. It was also 180,000 years after Monarch Mo Shui reincarnated. Dongbua Shui Ying, the Sunstar nucleus stone, has been refined and condensed. A voice passed through karma, resounding in the ears of Dongbua Shui Ying, who was in seclusion in search of transcendence. Today was only one chapter. It was the first day of the month. Relax a little. Smiley face star. Chapter 626. Finally done. Dongbua Shui Ying left the black fog sea alone, riding his stellar field flying ship towards the Ripple Lady planet. Very soon, he arrived at the Ripple Lady planet. This time, there were no obstructions. Under the guidance of the Array Spirit, the white-robed elder, Dongbua Shui Ying met the Ripple Lady planet lord. The Ripple Lady planet lord was still dressed in a snow-white robe. She sat barefoot on the shore of the lake, her white feet casually kicking in the water. Her every movement was emitting a natural rhythm. Dongbua Shui Ying sighed inwardly. This Ripple Lady planet lord had the most natural aura of a paragon he had ever seen. Water might seem ordinary, but it is extremely important in the entire universe. Without it, there would be no life. The Ripple Lady planet lord said, "The power of water is also an important power in the field of smithing. In terms of smithing, Even if we include rulers, the planet lord is ranked in the top 3. Donghua Shuang said, compared to your master, I am still far from it. Bloodblade is indeed a genius of our universe epic. Ripple Lady Planet Master stood up. Stepping on the grass, she slowly walked over. Dongbo Shuang, you are also considered a genius. I thought that when I refined and condensed the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone, you would have already transcended into a true god. Dongbo Shuang shook his head. How can cultivation be so easy? I have only just comprehended all 9 grade 1 deity hearts. To truly fuse them into one and form the laws of heaven and earth, I am still lacking the final step. I believe that with your perception, you will be able to do it very quickly. The Ripple Lady Planet Lord flipped her hand. A small black stone appeared in her palm. It was roughly the size of a fingernail and looked very ordinary. But Donghua Shui Ying's eyes lit up. He could feel that the laws of profound mysteries around the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone had started to change. The power of water was being repelled, the surrounding temperature rose by a lot, and even space-time was being suppressed. A stone can change the laws? Donghua Shui was slightly surprised. For you, the Ripple Lady Planet Lord threw it over. I have not been able to rest these past few years. I know Star-Lord has worked hard. Donghua Shui said as he received the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone. The Sun-Star Nucleus Stone was warm, but if he tried to sense it with his luminous sun force, he would discover that the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone contained an incomparably terrifying power. The luminous sun force was incinerated into nothingness as soon as it entered. Although Donghua Shui was shocked, he was not surprised. Although he had long since mastered the 4th revolution of the 4th volume of Luminous Sun, even the rulers who went to the deepest part of the Sun-Star, the Sun-Star core, would be instantly turned into nothingness. This fingernail-sized stone contained extremely little energy, but its quality was extremely high. It was reasonable for the luminous sun force to be easily incinerated, to be able to affect the surrounding laws, truly unimaginable. Donghua Shui could vaguely sense that there was a huge secret behind the composition of this stone. However, he was unable to sense it at all. Every time he tried to sense it, it would be incinerated into nothingness. Naturally, there was no way to comprehend it. Donghua Shui guessed that not even a Gemins would be able to comprehend it. Don't forget what you promised me. Ripple Lady Planet Master smiled. Of course, Donghua Shui said. A promise was worth its weight in gold. Also, other than my subordinates, no one else knows about the matter of me refining the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone for you. Ripple Lady Planet Master said, my subordinates don't have the guts to leak the news either, so this matter should remain a secret. However, since you have been collecting precious materials wantonly, I reckon that many powerful existences of the deity world and Dark Abyss will have their guesses as well. Thanks, Donghua Shui said. He was not afraid of threats, but Chihua Laozu was comparatively weaker. Then I shall take my leave first, Donghua Shui said. I hope that the next time we meet, you will have already transcended. Ripple Lady Planet Master said, I am waiting for the day you become a paragon. Otherwise, your favor will not be of much use to me. I also hope that your wish will come true. Donghua Shui chuckled. Towards someone like Ripple Lady Planet Master, as a paragon, and the #1 paragon in smithing, there were indeed many who would ask her for help. If he could not become a paragon, then his favor would be useless to her. After Donghua Shui took the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone, he quietly returned. Black Fog Sea. On the way back, Donghua Shui had already sent a message to Chihua Laozu. Look, after returning to his residence, Donghua Shui took out the Sun-Star Nucleus Stone. Looking at this small black stone, he could see that the laws of heaven and earth around it were changing. Chihua Laozu's eyes instantly turned red, and his body started to tremble slightly. This Sun-Star Nucleus Stone could affect the laws around it, greatly reducing the damage that flames could do to him. This allowed him to descend to the 2nd layer of the Sun-Star, the Sunstone layer. By descending to this layer, his chances of cultivation would increase greatly. In this lifetime, He might even be able to open up his own path and become a paragon. Without this stone, he could not see any hope. Without hope, no matter how long the days were, they would still be boring. This was also the reason why Chihuo Laozu had shamelessly asked for Dongbua Shui Ying's help, even though he knew that asking for Dongbua Shui Ying's help might be a little overboard. And Dongbua Shui Ying did not hesitate to do this for him. Snow Eagle, thank you, thank you. Chihuo Laozu's voice was trembling slightly. Ancestor, why are you thanking me? Dongbua Shui Ying laughed. I won't be giving the Sun Star Nucleus Stone to you for now. Chihuo Laozu was stunned. Not giving? Although Chihuo Laozu was anxious, he still asked, What do you intend to do? I don't have any other intentions. Dongbua Shui Ying said, If I give it to you, you will immediately return to the Sun Star. Once you're noticed by some powerful existences, what do you think they will think? 600,000 years ago, I had been collecting precious materials without restraint. During these 600,000 years, you have been living here with me. Now, you are returning to the Sun Star? Furthermore, if you were to guess how long Ripple Lady Planet Lord would need to refine and condense it, anyone with a bit of intelligence would be able to guess. Chihuo Laozu felt a wave of fear. That's right. He had lived in the Black Fog Sea for 600,000 years. Why did he suddenly return? Connecting this to the Sun Star Nucleus Stone, it was indeed possible to guess. Continue living in the Black Fog Sea. Everything will be normal. Dongbua Shui Ying said, Isn't your main body at the Sun Star? I will personally make a trip to send the Sun Star Nucleus Stone over. Moreover, I intend to cultivate on the Sun Star. Firstly, if someone were to secretly investigate, they would think that I am using the Sun Star Nucleus Stone to cultivate. Secondly, if someone really wants to act, I can help you. Chihuo Laozu felt that Dongbua Shui Ying's considerations were very thorough. He hurriedly said, Actually, the powerful existences probably won't believe that you will give the Sun Star Nucleus Stone to me. After all, it is simply too precious. I know you're anxious. I will head out tomorrow, Dongbua Shui Ying said. After speaking to his wife, Dongbua Shui Ying left the next day. It was a small matter for him to separate from his wife and children. This was because his family was in the Crimson Rock Mountain of the Xia people's world, and they could meet at any time. As a cultivator, he had to be cautious. In the material world, not even sovereigns could kill him. Naturally, he had to make good use of this opportunity. As time passed, if the Xia people's world were to collapse, he would have to leave. At that time, he would no longer have such perfect protection. Whoosh! Piloting the Starfield flying ship, Dongbua Shui Ying stood at the prow of the ship and traversed through the space-time tunnel. Although he was very familiar with this sun when he was a mortal, he had never actually entered the Sun Star. The Sun Star existed in a different space-time. It was not on the same level as normal space-time. In fact, it was not even on the same level as the River of Time. It was located at the very core of the universe. There, its light could illuminate the entire universe. Chapter 6:27. Standing at the bow of the Starfield flying ship, Dongbua Shui Ying looked at the layers of space-time in front of him. The Sun Star in front of him, at the start, emitted a warm light. But as he got closer, the temperature of the sunlight on his body rose rapidly. At the same time, the Sun Star became larger and larger in his field of vision. Finally, he completely passed through space-time and arrived at the core of the universe. Dongbua Shui Ying narrowed his eyes as he looked at the incomparably huge Sun Star in front of him. From time to time, flames would shoot up into the sky from the Sun Star. It emitted a surging heat, and this heat brought with it the power of destruction and life. It penetrated through space-time and was omnipresent. Even in the dark regions that were covered, the power of the Sun Star was still permeating through. At the same time, it was extremely powerful. The laws that caused Dongbua Shui Ying to feel suffocated were also surging out in all directions. The laws of the Sun Star, Dongbua Shui Ying had to admit that only when he faced the Sun Star up close would he realize that its laws might be on the same level as the material plane and the dark abyss. But the pressure it exuded was much stronger. The material plane was like a land filled with life. The dark abyss was like a barren desert. As for the sun star, it was like a meteorite formed from a huge continent. It brought with it a powerful offensive power that rampaged about. It is truly tyrannical and has the power of destruction that strikes fear in others. But amidst the destruction, there's also the power of life. Donghua Shuang sighed. He kept the Starfield flying ship and flew toward the Sun Star at high speed. The Sun Star was not suitable for living. Those who cultivated here had to reach an extremely high level of strength. Ordinary stage for heavenly sovereigns would probably be incinerated into ashes the moment they stepped onto the Sun Star. Hua! Donghua Shuang landed on the surface of the Sun Star. Although the surface of the Sun Star was blazing with flames, these flames had already liquefied. The entire surface of the Sun Star was like a sea formed from liquid flames. In this huge ocean, there were even some waves. The waves would cause the flames to surge even more violently. Rumble, Donghua Shuang looked into the distance. The glow of the flames was incomparably dazzling. The sea of flames beneath his feet was still considered calm. The water's surface was squirming slowly, and there was a turbulent area in the distance. Snow Eagle. A figure flew over from afar. It was none other than Chihua Laozu's main body. Old ancestor. Donghua Shuang smiled. Sorry for troubling you all the way here, said Chihua Laozu. It's nothing much. I've been in seclusion for a long time now, so it's about time for me to come out for a walk. Donghua Shuang replied. Now that he had comprehended all 9 Grade 1 deity hearts, the next step would be to perfectly fuse them into the laws of the heaven and earth. Cultivating in seclusion was not a good idea. Places like the extreme Yang star and the extreme Yin star were very suitable for cultivation. The laws here far surpassed the laws of the world. Just by comprehending a little, one might be able to make a breakthrough. This is a sun star nucleus stone. Donghua Shuang tossed it over. Chihua Laozu took it, suppressed his excitement, and said, Let's go. I'll bring you in to take a look. Who? The two of them immediately dove into the sun ocean, flying towards its depths. A layer of luminous sun force covered Donghua Shuang's body, allowing him to easily isolate the sun ocean. The sun star is a place filled with destruction. No living beings can be born here. Chihua Laozu said. Oh, Donghua Shuang chuckled and didn't retort. Back then, his master, Bloodblade, had given him a large amount of information. Within the 5th layer of the sun star, the sun abyssal pond, there were 2 terrifying living beings. According to his master's description, strictly speaking, they couldn't be considered normal living beings. They were the incarnations of a portion of the sun star's laws, and they had the strength of a ruler. Up till now, they had never left the sun star before. Most of their time was spent in slumber within the sun abyssal pond, playing and occasionally entering the 4th layer, the void black soil layer. Only rulers could enter the void black soil layer. Even amongst paragons, only a few could enter. For example, Paragon Huacheng and Monarch Green. Hence, the existence of these 2 terrifying living beings was indeed a secret. Most powerful existences wouldn't know about them. After flying for a long time, only then did Donghua Shuang and Shuang descend to the bottom of the sun ocean, the outermost layer. Donghua Shuang looked downwards. He could clearly see the boundless, thick stone layer. Hidden within the stone layer was an even more terrifying flame energy. Chihua Laozu descended on the stone layer and sat down cross-legged. The surface of his body affected the surrounding laws and even formed a resonance with the laws of the entire sun star. The damage that the surrounding flames dealt to him was greatly reduced. Relying on the sun star nucleus stone, I can sit here, but I don't dare to go any deeper. Chihua Laozu laughed. Donghua Shuang descended as well. His feet landed on the stone layer. Be careful, Chihua Laozu warned. Donghua Shuang was extremely calm. The luminous sun force that he had used to protect his feet was pierced through by the traces of flames on the stone layer. Clearly, the luminous sun force was extremely young and unyielding and wasn't suitable for defense. A layer of black armor naturally appeared on Dongbua Shui Ying's body, easily blocking this layer of flames. What a joke. Dongbua Shui Ying's extreme annihilation mysterious body armor was able to withstand an all-out attack from the White Sovereign King and would only suffer some damage. Most Apex Paragons wouldn't dare to withstand an all-out attack from the White Sovereign King. One could see how tyrannical the defense of Dongbua Shui Ying's body was as a member of the Army of Destruction. In terms of defense, he wasn't any weaker than an Apex Paragon. It is indeed different. Dongbua Shui Ying stepped on it. He instantly felt the undulations of the sun attribute laws changing. Dong dong dong. An extremely intense impact caused Dongbua Shui Ying's heartbeat to accelerate. The powerful and tyrannical laws and profound mysteries enveloped Dongbua Shui Ying. Dongbua Shui Ying carefully experienced it for a long time before opening his eyes. How is it? Shocking, right? Chihuo Laozu chuckled. As long as you can grasp a strand of its might, you will be able to open your own Dao path. Grasping a portion of its might will allow you to fight against rulers. It is indeed amazing. Let me go deeper to take a look. Dongbua Shui Ying said. Go deeper? Chihuo Laozu was startled. By relying on the Sunstar nucleus stone, he was only at the surface of the second layer. Hua! The moment Dongbua Shui Ying finished speaking, he had already forcefully penetrated through. His powerful strength forcefully pushed aside the obstruction of the stone layer as he went deeper. As he went deeper, the stone layer above him started to slowly heal. Dongbua Shui Ying continued to fly deeper. Along the way, the stone layer was constantly being pierced through. Although the might of the flames within the stone layer was gradually increasing, it was still not a threat to the armor. In a desolate area of the deity world, in a desolate starry sky, there was a floating continent. On the continent, there were countless black bamboos. The black bamboos emitted a coldness that caused one's heart to turn cold. Countless black bamboos covered 90% of the continent. In the center of the continent, there was a chain of luxurious palaces. Within one of the palaces, the doors of the palace were closed. Within the palace, there was only a black-robed, skinny man sitting on the throne. His skin was also black, and there were strange patterns on it. On his forehead, there were even 2 protrusions. He was the bamboo saint of the 2 saints of the ink race. He was also the bamboo saint who had forcefully snatched Chihuo Laozu's sun star nucleus stone. A voice suddenly resounded throughout the palace. Bamboo Saint, Ripple Lady Planet Lord refined a sun star nucleus stone and gave it to Dongbua Shui Ying. Then, Dongbua Shui Ying went to the sun star and gave it to Chihuo Laozu. The 2 of them are currently on the sun star. His voice was cold. Bamboo Saint's lips curled into a smile. Admirable, admirable. Your method of sensing the sun star nucleus stone is truly amazing. Humph. That cold voice snorted and no longer resounded. Bamboo Saint sat there cross-legged. Through karma, he sensed, indeed, on the sun star, Dongbua Shui Ying and Chihuo Laozu were both there. Dongbua Shui Ying is here too? This is slightly troublesome. Even though this brat has cultivated for a short period of time, his ranking on the Cosmos Deity Demon list is slightly higher than mine. Bamboo Saint said, we have to wait. Wait for Dongbua Shui Ying to leave before killing Chihuo Laozu and snatching the Sunstar Nucleus Stone. Chapter 628. But to offer up a Sunstar Nucleus Stone, the sect leader is truly generous. Bamboo Saint smiled. With a flip of his hand, a simple and unadorned black metal appeared. On the black metal, there were densely packed golden words. If I were to obtain another Sunstar Nucleus Stone from Chihuo Laozu, the sect leader's bestowment shouldn't be any lower than the previous one. I feel that my accumulation is becoming more and more profound. With another bestowment, I might be able to open my own Dao. Bamboo Saint looked at the black metal in his hand with a smile on his face. Chihuo Laozu, you are my benefactor. Your face is quite big to be able to get Dongbua Shui Ying to gift you a Sunstar Nucleus Stone. The more Bamboo Saint thought about it, the more pleased he became. If the Sunstar Nucleus Stone was with Dongbua Shuang, he would not be able to do anything. After all, Dongbua Shuang was indeed very strong. Even a paragon would find it hard to kill him. If there was a slight delay, Dongbua Shuiying's good friend Paragon Huocheng and the others would most likely rush over to rescue him. Thus, if the treasure was with Dongbua Shuiying, he would not dare to have any thoughts. As for Chihua Laozu, he was much weaker. In the depths of the Sun Star, Dongbua Shuiying was wearing a black armor. He forcefully penetrated through the sunstone layer. A passage was forcefully squeezed out of the sunstone layer by him before the passage closed up. He continued to penetrate. The surrounding flames were suffused with strands of golden stars. The power was getting stronger and stronger. However, the extreme annihilation mysterious body armor was still able to withstand it. This sunstone layer is too thick. Comparatively, the sun ocean is much shallower. Dongbua Shuiying thought to himself. With his current strength, even with the obstruction of the sunstone layer, his speed could still reach close to 1,000,000 miles per second. And now, he had been traveling for over a day, yet he was still within the sunstone layer. The power of the flames was also gradually increasing. Finally, after 5 days of traveling through the sunstone layer, Dongbua Shuiying was deep in the sun star. Around the sealed stone layer, there were wisps of fire. Each wisp of fire glowed with golden light. These wisps of fire could easily incinerate an almighty. Only the extreme annihilation mysterious body armor allowed Dongbua Shuiying to stay here safely. Are we about to reach the 3rd level? Dongbua Shuiying stopped. He could faintly feel a very weak fluctuation. It was very weak, but it came from the deepest part of the sun star. When it was transmitted to his body, Dongbua Shuiying's extreme annihilation mysterious body armor trembled slightly. Solar wave layer. Dongbua Shuiying understood that he had already reached the edge of the 3rd layer of the sun star, the solar wave layer. Normally, only top-tier supremacies could safely stay within the solar wave layer. Weaker venerables wouldn't be able to withstand this solar wave, and their bodies would be shattered into nothingness. There were extremely few paragons like Paragon Huocheng and Monarch Green who could pass through the entire solar wave layer and enter the void black soil layer. The void black soil layer, Dongbua Shuiying didn't dare to think about it. After all, Paragon Huocheng could enter because he was the most proficient in flames amongst paragons. He walked on the Tao of Flames and would naturally have an easier time. As for Monarch Green, his combat strength was already comparable to a ruler. As for the other Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master, Mysterious North Imperial Empress, Bitter Cultivator, and others who were extremely heaven-defying, they were unable to enter the void black soil layer. In terms of defense, Dongbua Shuiying didn't dare to say that he was comparable to Bitter Cultivator and the others. Who? Dongbua Shuiying continued going deeper. The solar wave layer was still filled with rocks. As Dongbua Shuiying went deeper, the power of the solar wave grew stronger and stronger. Wong, wong, wong. The deeper he went, the more intense the ripples became. It caused Dongbua Shuiying's armor to tremble continuously. However, he was still able to withstand it. The rocks are starting to soften. Dongbua Shuiying was astonished. The rocks of the sun star weren't real rocks. Instead, they were existences formed from flames. Currently, under the impact of the solar wave, the deeper he went, the more the solid started to soften. Dongbua Shuiying relied on the extreme annihilation mysterious body armor to travel. He was also rather curious about the sun star. Hence, he forced himself to go deeper. However, gradually, the extreme annihilation mysterious body armor started to crack under the impact of the solar wave. Dongbua Shuiying immediately circulated the energy in his body to repair it. As long as he could repair it, he would be able to continue. The surrounding rocks were becoming softer, like soft mud. This soft mud is gradually transforming into the void black soil. Dongbua Shuiying looked at the surrounding soft mud. The soft mud was golden in color, with some traces of black. The flames that appeared in the soft mud were also pure golden flames. Golden stars flickered, and the power caused Dongbua Shui Ying's black armor to start showing signs of wear and tear. However, comparatively speaking, the threat of the solar wave was greater. I'm almost at the limit of my repair. Shui Ying stopped. The surrounding soft, golden soil flowed and emitted flames. A terrifying shockwave swept across a large area time after time. Every single time it swept across, cracks would appear on the armor. Dongbua Shui diverted his attention to repair. At the same time, he sensed the laws of the sun star. He closed his eyes. Boom, boom, boom. There was the profundity of flames. The flames were domineering and overbearing, burning everything. That was a rude and unreasonable attitude that left no room for negotiation. Who? This was the profundity of the solar wave. The solar wave swept everywhere, and all kinds of solar waves were slightly different. When Dongbua Shui Ying sensed it, he even felt like he was in a traveler's world, watching waves crashing against the shore. The solar wave was the same. Every wave within was different. It was precisely because of the combination of countless different waves that when swept, the power was stronger. The deeper he went, the more combined waves there were, and the stronger the power. The further he went, the fewer waves there were, the weaker the power. Dongbua Shui Ying even understood that the solar wave represented a Tao. Once this Tao path was opened, he could stand there and release the solar wave in all directions. Even the bodies of pinnacle supremacies would not be able to withstand it. Their bodies would be pulverized. This is a domain-type Tao that covers a large area. Furthermore, it is extremely powerful and offensive. Dongbua Shui Ying understood that once the solar wave was unleashed, it would affect all space and time. It could not be avoided and could only be resisted. If he could withstand it, he would live. If he cannot, he would die. However, it's not suitable for me to pursue power. If I immerse myself in studying the solar wave, it will be troublesome if I really open up a Tao path. Dongbua Shui Ying smiled. If he could not transcend, he would forever be lost in the river of time. I'll transcend first. After that, I can study this to my heart's content. Dongbua Shui Ying pondered over the solar wave for a while before focusing all his attention on the laws of the sun star's operation. The sun star itself was a system of its own. It was an even larger world. Dongbua Shui Ying studied its structure and perfected his understanding of the profound mysteries of the world. After all, his own Tao path was to use the profound mysteries of the world to encompass all laws and form the laws of heaven and earth. In the depths of the sun star's third layer, the solar wave layer, Dongbua Shui Ying was quietly comprehending and experiencing. Actually, Dongbua Shui Ying believed that his understanding of the world was very deep. However, if he wanted to combine them into a complete set of laws of heaven and earth, he still lacked that flash of inspiration. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 13,000 years had passed. Moo, a deep and vigorous sound faintly transmitted from the depths of the sun star. Dongbua Shui Ying, who was surrounded by the golden ooze, suddenly opened his eyes. He revealed a look of surprise. Is that the two dominator rank life forms of the sun pool? Chapter 629. Dongbua Shui Ying closed his eyes. Listening to the roar, the ripples were already very weak. However, Dongbua Shui Ying was still able to follow the ripples and determined the rough location of the source of the roar. It was a huge being. It was flying leisurely while letting out roars. Based on its position, it should be flying in the void black soil layer. It is time to return. Dongbua Shui Ying opened his eyes and revealed a smile. I did not expect to be able to hear the roar of a being from the sun abyss. My luck is not bad. Following which, he returned. On the surface of a sun star, Chihua Laozu sent Dongbua Shui Ying off. Leaving so early, Chihua Laozu asked, "Aha, old ancestor, to you, 10,000 years is very short. But to me, it is already very long." Dongbua Shui Ying laughed. Furthermore, cultivating in the depths of the sun star requires me to be distracted and recover from my injuries. I am preparing to return to the Black Fog Sea and meditate on my gains this time. When I cultivate in the Sunstone layer, I have to be distracted and defend against the flames. It is true that I am unable to fully comprehend. Usually, I would return to the surface of the sun, star to comprehend. Chihua Laozu said, alternating between tension and relaxation is the correct way. Dongbua Shuang nodded, there is no need to send me off. Following which, he waved his hand and a Starfield flying ship appeared beside him. He stepped on the Starfield flying ship and left through space-time. Chihua Laozu watched as Dongbua Shuang left and revealed a smile. Following which, he used karma to sense for a while before heaving a sigh of relief. Bamboo Saint is still in his lair. That's right. Snow Eagle's request for Ripple Lady Star-Lord to refine the Sunstar Nucleus Stone is a secret. I have to be even more careful. It is impossible for Bamboo Saint to know. Following which, he turned and returned to his wooden house on the surface of the Sunstar Ocean and started to reflect on his gains in the past 10,000 years. Within a dark hall, in the main hall, Bamboo Saint sat there and looked at the black metal in his hands. His eyelids twitched as he glanced in the direction of the Sunstar. A cold smile appeared on his face. Dongbua Shuang has returned? I knew it. This brat has only cultivated for a short period of time. So how long can he stay on a Sunstar? To him, the most important thing is probably transcendence. There's no hurry. After a few days, I'll set off secretly and kill Chihua Laozu. Then, the Sunstar Nucleus Stone will be mine. Hee, another huge harvest. Bamboo Saint's eyes lit up. Black Misty. Who? Dongbua Shuang returned to the Imperial Monarch's estate, but he wasn't in a hurry to cultivate. Instead, he accompanied his wife, Jing Xiao, and it just so happened that his son, Dongbua Yu, was there as well. The family of three gathered together and chatted, and they even discussed the various laws and profundities of cultivation. On this day, Father, this is a new sword art that I've created. Dongbua Yu stood up. Dongbua Shuang and Jing Xiao sat by the side, drinking tea as they watched with delight. It had been over 700,000 years since he established the estate, and his accumulations were incomparably deep. He was much stronger than when he first came out of the Three Chieftains' Sacred Mountain. Many of his son's comprehensions were still immature in his eyes, and there were even many mistakes. However, he still encouraged and praised his son before guiding him. This sword art was extremely dazzling. The heaven and earth seemed to have sunk into primal chaos. Within the primal chaos, an extreme point appeared, and the sword art shone resplendently like a rainbow. Father, how's the sword art? Dongbua Yu asked. It suddenly appeared within the primal chaos, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Not bad, Dongbua Shuang said. However, its might is slightly weaker. The profound mysteries of primal chaos can be condensed into an extreme point, and there's a technique to condense it. Take a look. Dongbua Shuang lightly tapped with his right hand. Dong! The space where his finger touched actually collapsed. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye collapsed towards a center before converging into a dark point. That was the extreme point. This extreme point abruptly burst forth, transforming into a dazzling rainbow light that streaked across the sky, tearing through the starry sky before dissipating. Dongbua Yu's eyes lit up as he watched. These ripples. Jing Xiao's eyes also lit up. Her cultivation was slightly slower, but she had grasped hold of 7 grade 1 deity hearts. She also discovered that the ripples created by Dongbua Shuang's finger were extraordinary. This as a portion of the profound mysteries of the solar ripples, Dongbua Shuang said. Solar ripples. Dongbua Shuang had, after all, spent 13,000 years in the solar star. Although his main focus was to comprehend the circulation laws of the solar star, he still managed to gain some insights from the solar ripples. Perhaps it was because the countless ripples of the solar ripples were similar to the countless thin tubes within the black feather, or perhaps he had some comprehension ability in this aspect. In any case, the benefits he gained were not small. However, Dongbua Shuang did not dare to delve into it. even though it was extremely difficult to open one's own Tao after reaching the opening realm. Even if he did delve into the solar ripples, it was unlikely that he would be able to open his own Tao. However, Dongbua Shui Ying had learned his lesson from the Army of Destruction's commander. In addition to his teacher's repeated reminders, he chose not to purposely pursue power. Solar ripples? Jing Qiu exclaimed, the third layer of the solar star? Amen. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. Later on, you must properly spar with me. Let me see how powerful this solar ripples is. Jing Qiu said, I want to learn as well. Dongbua Yu added. Dongbua Shui Ying smiled and nodded. Suddenly, his expression changed. A figure shot out from the monarch residence. It was Chihua Laozu, who had been staying here for a long time. Chihua Laozu's face was filled with anxiety. Snow Eagle, you must help me this time. I know. Dongbua Shui Ying's face was ashen. You truly have guts. On the surface of the solar star, shooting out of the wooden house, Chihua Laozu stared furiously at the skinny black-robed man in the distance. That skinny man had black skin and patterns on his face. He looked at Chihua Laozu with a smile that was not a smile. Chihua, I've come to see you again. What are you doing here? Chihua Laozu said furiously. Although he was nervous, he believed that no one should know that he had the solar star nucleus stone. Of course it's for the solar star nucleus stone on you. Bamboo Saint laughed weirdly. Are you going to hand it over obediently? Or should I kill you and take it away? You. Chihua Laozu was in disbelief. How did you hand it over? I don't wish to waste time. Bamboo Saint said indifferently. At this moment, he was using karma to scout and easily knew the location of Dongbua Shui Ying, Paragon Hua Cheng, and others. Dongbua Shui Ying would need a long time to rush over. This amount of time was sufficient for him to kill Chihua Laozu more than 10 times. After all, he was ranked 53rd on the Cosmos Deity Demon list and was in existence close to the Paragon realm. His ranking was slightly higher than Old Ancestor Golden Firmament. Hua. Through karma, a figure condensed by the side. It was a black-robed, cold young man. Bamboo Saint. Oh. Bamboo Saint glanced at the black-robed young man. This was merely an incarnation that descended through karma and didn't pose any threat. He exclaimed, So it's Monarch Dongbua. What's the matter? Bamboo Saint, don't you think you're going overboard? Dongbua Shui Ying suppressed his anger. The main reason was that he couldn't rush over immediately. Overboard? Isn't the survival of the fittest the rule of the universe? Bamboo Saint exclaimed. Dongbua Shui Ying could feel how unbridled this Bamboo Saint was. His expression changed. This Bamboo Saint didn't seem to give him any face. Bamboo Saint, this Sunstar Nucleus Stone is something I lent to Chihua Laozu. That's mine. Why? You want to snatch it from me? Snatch from you? Bamboo Saint sneered. So what if I snatch from you? Monarch Dongbua, you and I are on the same level. You dare to be arrogant in front of me? Chihua Laozu was also angered. You snatched it once, and you want to snatch it a second time? I'm snatching it from you. Who asked you to be weak? Bamboo Saint said softly. Chihua Laozu's face turned red from anger. Dongbua Shui Ying, those ordinary powerful existences might give you face. But in front of me, what are you? A little brat with some absolute arts, a stage 4 world deity. Bamboo Saint sneered. All right, I can't be bothered to speak with you. Chihua, since you don't want to hand it over, I can only send you on your way. Bamboo Saint, you... Chihua Laozu was infuriated, but in his heart, he was in despair. He was clear of the difference in strength between them. He couldn't escape. One-on-one, it was too easy for Bamboo Saint to kill him. Bamboo Saint. Dongbua Shui Ying said from aside. That year when you snatched Chihua Laozu, Chihua and I could ignore it. But this time you have to stop. According to the promise. If he couldn't repair the array on the tattered cloth, he would have to return the Sunstar Nucleus Stone to Ripple Lady Planet Lord. If it was snatched, how could he return it? Stop! Bamboo Saint suddenly extended his hand. The huge right hand was like a curtain descending from the sky. Every finger had turned into a black bamboo, and the 5 black bamboos were emitting endless baleful energy. Forefather Scarlet Flame suddenly roared and turned into a dazzling deep purple light. This deep purple streamer emitted a terrifying temperature, burning everything. But Bamboo Saint's enormous palm directly grabbed it. That black bamboo was filled with toughness and coldness, completely suppressing this flame. Pung, pung, pung. Both sides clashed. No matter how Chihua Laozu struggled, he was like a beast trapped in a cage. Every time they clashed, he would be injured. Although this flaming body had strong survivability, with each injury, he was getting closer and closer to death. Ha ha! Bamboo Saint even glanced at Dongbua Shui Ying by the side. Following a final unwilling roar, Bamboo Saint. Chihua Laozu's true body was finally destroyed. Bamboo Saint very quickly found the Sunstar Nucleus Stone from the items left behind by Chihua Laozu. Sunstar Nucleus Stone, another one? Bamboo Saint looked at Dongbua Shui Ying by the side and laughed. Ha ha, Dongbua Shui Ying, I have killed him. What can you do? Ha! Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes flashed with killing intent. You are courting death. Hua! Dongbua Shui Ying's figure disappeared. Angry? Bamboo Saint was startled when he saw this, but he immediately laughed. Our strengths are similar. What can you do to me? Following which, he took a step and disappeared through time. Only the Sunstar Nucleus Stone remained, emitting light and heat. Chapter 630. Black Fog Ocean, Dongbua Monarch Residence. Jingqiu and Dongbua looked at Dongbua Shui Ying and Chihua Laozu in doubt. Father, old ancestor, what exactly happened? Dongbua could not help but ask. A little troublesome matter. Dongbua Shui Ying furrowed his brows. Chihua Laozu was slightly anxious as his face turned pale. In just a moment, he felt powerless as he looked at Dongbua Shui Ying and said softly, Snow Eagle, this is because I was unable to protect the Sunstar Nucleus Stone. Everything is because of me. In the future, if you want to return the Sunstar Nucleus Stone to Ripple Lady Star Lord, I will return it to you. Chihua Laozu's voice was very weak. Because he was clear, how could he return it? The Sunstar Nucleus Stone was such a precious treasure. There was no way he could return it. I'm sorry. Chihua Laozu said softly. At this moment, his heart was filled with hatred, guilt, and vexation. He even regretted asking Dongbua Shui Ying for help. If he did not ask Dongbua Shui Ying for help, wouldn't this matter not have happened? The Sunstar Nucleus Stone, if he asked Dongbua Shui Ying to return it, how could he return it? This has nothing to do with you. Dongbua Shui Ying said coldly. This is a matter between me and Bamboo Saint. I already said it was mine, but he actually snatched it. Jingqiu, I'm going out for a while. Dongbua Shui Ying said. Oh, Dongbua Yuer replied. Be careful. Jingqiu could guess what Dongbua Shui Ying wanted to do, so she instructed. Don't worry, a mere Bamboo Saint is nothing to me. Dongbua Shui Ying grinned. Hong. He immediately soared into the sky and left quickly. Chihua Laozu raised his head to send off Dongbua Shui Ying with his eyes. His fists were clenched tightly. His heart was filled with regret and unwillingness. Bamboo Saint's words kept reverberating in his ears. Who asked you to be weak? Who asked you to be weak? Who asked you to be weak? It reverberated over and over again, as though countless insects were biting his heart. Guilt towards Dongbua Shui Ying, anger towards Bamboo Saint, and all sorts of other emotions filled his heart. In a rather remote star field of the divine world, on a huge black bamboo continent, within a chain of palaces, Bamboo Saint was currently caressing a black bamboo. He had a smile on his face, and his mood was extremely good. I really didn't expect that I would actually obtain 2 precious Sunstar Nucleus Stones from an ordinary almighty existence, Chihua Laozu. Ha ha ha, this luck is really invincible. Ha ha, when I offer that Sunstar Nucleus Stone to the sect leader, I wonder what he will bestow upon me. Bamboo Saint's expression suddenly changed as he looked into the distance. His gaze pierced through the distance and saw a time-space tunnel that had just been torn open in the starry sky outside of the black bamboo continent. From that time-space tunnel, a black-robed teenager walked out. The baleful aura emitted by the black-robed teenager had already enveloped the sky and earth. Bamboo Saint's pupils constricted. Looking at that figure, he muttered softly, Dongbua Shui Ying actually dared to come? He asked himself. He and Dongbua Shui Ying were the 53rd and 52nd respectively on the Cosmos Deity Demon list. Their strengths were comparable, and now he was in his own territory. From how he saw it, even if Dongbua Shui Ying were to kill his way over, it would only be a waste of energy and would not be a threat to him. Since that was the case, he believed that with Dongbua Shui Ying's intelligence, he would not be so foolish as to kill his way over. But in reality, he still came. Paragon Hua Chung did not come. Bamboo Saint relied on karma to confirm that Paragon Hua Chung, who had a deep relationship with Dongbua Shui Ying, did not come. Just him alone? Bamboo Saint's lips curled into a sneer. His mind was filled with rage, and he became stupid, walking out of the time-space tunnel. The baleful aura on Dongbua Shui Ying's body soared into the sky. His eyes were cold as he looked at the continent that was filled with black bamboos. Countless black bamboos were emitting an evil aura and chill. Bamboo Saint, Dongbua Shui Ying shouted. His voice rumbled as he borrowed the power of the world to envelop the entire black bamboo continent. Bamboo Saint, Bamboo Saint, Bamboo Saint. Angry roars rumbled and resounded throughout the vast black bamboo continent. Many of Bamboo Saint's subordinates were alarmed. All of them were slightly trembling. The will contained within the angry roar caused all of them to fall to the ground. Some of the weaker ones even fainted instantly. Isn't this monarch Dongbua? Why? Just because you lost a Sunstar nucleus stone, you dare to be impudent? A figure flashed and appeared in the sky above the black bamboo continent. He was facing Dongbua Shui Ying from afar. This figure was the black-robed, black-skinned, and tattooed Bamboo Saint. Bamboo Saint smiled brilliantly. Dongbua Shui Ying, aren't you overestimating yourself? I advise you to leave obediently. Otherwise, if we continue fighting, you will only be asking for humiliation. The rage in Dongbua Shui Ying's heart continued to rise. 700,000 years of cultivation. Dongbua Shui Ying thought that his temper had been tempered, but this Bamboo Saint had completely infuriated him. He had snatched the Sunstar nucleus stone twice and was still so arrogant. Such cultivators were looked down upon by Dongbua Shui Ying. Amongst mortals, they were scum. To do evil, yet not be seen as evil. Such evil had long seeped into one's bones. It was just that there were many of such people in the dark abyss. His own strength was limited, which was why Dongbua Shui Ying did not meddle in other people's business. But since Bamboo Saint had stepped on his face and pissed on him, how could Dongbua Shui Ying endure it? Old friend. Dongbua Shui Ying flipped his hand, and a scarlet red spear appeared. This was a blood-refined deity weapon that had been nurtured to the pinnacle of world deity weapons, the Scarlet Cloud Spear. After a long period of nurturing, in Dongbua Shui Ying's hands, its might far surpassed that of ordinary world deity weapons. It was only a sliver away from becoming a true god weapon. 700,000 years. I'm going to start a massacre again. Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes were filled with killing intent. When mortals were young, they would go to the mountain range of desolation to kill. Although Dongbua Shui Ying had become much more gentle and reserved after his cultivation increased, he was still decisive when it came to taking action. Are you really going to act? The distant Bamboo Saint was startled when he saw this. I thought you were here to say some words and threaten to negotiate. You haven't even said 2 sentences and you are already going to act? Monarch Dongbua, this is my territory. You are unable to do anything to me. Bamboo Saint spoke with a clear voice. Is that so? Dongbua Shui Ying said in a low voice. Then let's try. Bamboo Saint's face turned savage. Was he really going to act? Then let's do it. My array was set up by my elder brother. Although my elder brother is only ordinary amongst paragons, the array he set up, even if it can't stop a paragon, it shouldn't be a problem for it to stop a mere Dongbua Shui Ying. Bamboo Saint's face was gloomy as he stared at Dongbua Shui Ying. I've tried it myself, but I'm unable to break this array of mine. Dongbua Shui Ying raised his head and looked at Bamboo Saint. He then wielded the spear with both his hands and fiercely hacked over. Boom! As the scarlet cloud spear hacked down, it also rapidly expanded in size. It was like a huge heavenly pillar that spanned across billions of miles of the starry sky. Furthermore, as the scarlet cloud spear hacked down, a huge illusory continent actually appeared around the spear. This continent was boundless and was much bigger than the ink bamboo continent below. The illusory continent had countless black tubes, faintly forming a terrifying pressure. Bamboo Saint's heart turned cold when he saw this. This is the first time in 700,000 years. At this moment, Dongbua Shui Ying's luminous sun force was surging within his body. Luminous sun force was slightly special. If it left his body, its offensive power would be greatly reduced. But when it was inside his body, the power it could unleash was extremely strong. This was the special characteristic of energy. Only by combining energy with matter could it unleash even stronger might. Dongbua Shui Ying's body, because of the extreme annihilation mysterious body, was also ridiculously strong. Back at the Three Chieftains' sacred mountain, he was able to suppress Emperor Qi Hai in terms of strength. And now, his luminous sun force had already reached the 4th rank. Luminous sun force and extreme annihilation mysterious body were equal. They also complemented each other. The combination of energy and matter allowed Dongbua Shui Ying's strength to be much stronger than back at the Three Chieftains' sacred mountain. Most importantly, 700,000 years of cultivation was much longer than Dongbua Shui Ying's entire lifetime of cultivation before the Three Chieftains' sacred mountain. After comprehending all 9 deity hearts, he was no different from a powerful existence in terms of cultivation realm. He was only lacking in grasping the complete law of heaven and earth, because he did not dare to pursue strength in other aspects, but he did his best in the profound mysteries of the world. Because the path he had decided on, as well as the path that Bloodblade had suggested, was for Dongbua Shuang to use the profound mysteries of the world to encompass the profound mysteries of other laws, forming the law of heaven and earth. Thus, he was doing his best to cultivate the profound mysteries of the world. 700,000 years of cultivation. In addition to the frequent time acceleration, his comprehension of the black feather and the tattered cloth scroll, with his comprehension ability, he had comprehended the 5 great secret skills of the world. All of them were secret skills of the profound mysteries of the world. And these 5 great moves were considered extremely strong moves among existences that were close to the Paragon level. Thus, compared to when he was at the Three Chieftains' sacred mountain, the flaws in his cultivation realm had been completely made up for. The spear technique he was currently using was one of the 5 great secret skills of the world, the Black Feather Continent Suppression. Chapter 631. Dongbua Shui Ying had spent a lot of time and effort on the black feather that 5th martial uncle had gifted to him during the opening banquet. Of the 5 great techniques that he had created, 2 of them were comprehended from the black feather. Although it was just the tip of the iceberg, its might was already extremely great. The move Black Feather Continent Suppression, once it was executed, the energy within his body would constantly accumulate. Finally, it would be as though a continent was suppressing him, and its might would instantly be suppressed. It could be said that this was a move that fully displayed the advantage of Dongbua Shui Ying's strength. If he were to meet Emperor Qi Hai and the rest, Dongbua Shui Ying would probably send them flying with a single move. Not good. Bamboo Saint raised his head and saw a gigantic mirage of a continent appearing on the sky pillar-like spear. The entire mirage of the continent was in a weird feather shape. However, Bamboo Saint felt an intense threat in his heart. This spear definitely cannot be blocked. South, he immediately descended. At the same time, the palaces in the center of the ink bamboo continent suddenly emitted countless air currents. Thousands of air currents swept in all directions, enveloping and protecting a large half of the continent. This array was personally set up by his elder brother, Leaf Saint. From Bamboo Saint's point of view, Other than the patrolled Devil King and a few other existences, anyone below the Paragon realm would not be able to threaten him in his old nest. Hong, the sky pillar-like scarlet cloud spear mightily pressed down. Bamboo Saint raised his head to watch from within the array. Only by looking at it from a close distance, looking at the gigantic feather-like mirage of the continent, could he clearly feel the fear in his heart. Why would there be a feather-like mirage of the continent? Bamboo Saint thought, forget it, forget it. I shall not fight with him. I shall hide under the array and borrow the power of the array to block him. With his pride, he originally wanted to make a move or two. However, after seeing the might of this spear, he dispelled that thought and decided to hide in the array like a tortoise. He had no choice. The power of this spear was too strong. The main reason was that Dongbua Shui Ying's physical strength was too strong. The two ultimate arts he had were the luminous sun and the extreme annihilation mystic body, which complemented each other. One focused on energy, while the other focused on the physical body. Actually, it was very difficult to have two ultimate arts at the same time. This was because the luminous sun was known as the strongest and most unyielding ultimate art. There were also ultimate arts that cultivated the physical body, but it was too difficult to cultivate the physical body to a level comparable to the luminous sun. Only the Army of Destruction's extreme annihilation mystic body could compare. With the combination of the two, his strength was close to that of the patrolled Devil King, who had an extraordinary encounter. In addition, now that his realm had caught up, the moves he had comprehended from the Black Feather Continent were naturally able to display a terrifying might. Bang! The Scarlet Cloud Spear smashed into the array that was bursting with thousands of air currents. The huge illusory land pressed down. The formation suddenly caved in, followed by a series of popping sounds. Some of the hubs of the entire formation collapsed, and the thousands of air currents immediately began to dissipate. Impossible! Bamboo Saint, who was inside the formation, watched in disbelief as the entire formation collapsed. Elder Brother's formation. How is this possible? Nothing was impossible. Dongbua Shui Ying's current offensive power was much stronger than when he fought against 3 opponents at the 3 Chieftains at Sacred Mountain. It was only because he had been cultivating for 700,000 years and had never made a move that the Primal Master did not change his ranking. It could be said that this terrifying move that he had displayed to his heart's content, even if it was slightly weaker than the patrolled Devil King's, it would still have 80% of its power. Regardless of whether it was Dongbua Shui Ying or the patrolled Devil King, in terms of frontal attacks, they were already able to fight against ordinary paragons. Such a move naturally broke through the formation. Die for me. After Shui Ying destroyed the array with a single spear, the power of his spear technique had weakened. That Bamboo Saint brandished a red pole and naturally parried against this spear. But Dongbua Shui Ying suddenly retracted his spear and once again unleashed the same move. The spear was vast and mighty, and the Black Feather Continent appeared. Again, Bamboo Saint was startled and furious. He did not have the slightest thought of fighting head-on. This Dongbua Shui Ying, with such a suppressive technique, he should be close to the legendary patrolled Devil King, right? He's only ranked 52nd? Hua! Bamboo Saint's body turned into a shadow as he fled. The red pole in his hand suddenly expanded, and at the same time, countless of branches strangely appeared on the pole. The entire pole actually turned into a huge red bamboo. When Dongbua Shui Ying's spear struck down, countless branches and leaves started to bend. I can't block it. His advantage in strength is too great. He can completely sweep through everything. Bamboo Saint's expression changed. I have to escape. If I don't escape, it would be troublesome. Just like at the 3 Chieftains Sacred Mountain, although Dongbua Shui Ying had an advantage in strength against Emperor Qi Hai, his advantage was not too exaggerated. Secondly, Dongbua Shui Ying's techniques were too crude, and others could avoid Dongbua Shui Ying's advantages and attack his weaknesses. But it was different now. Dongbua Shui Ying's spear technique was upright, but it was impossible to break it. At the very least, Bamboo Saint, who was known for his gentleness, was unable to break it. You can't break it, but you can't stop me from escaping. Bamboo Saint was very confident as he fled at high speed. You want to escape? Bamboo Saint looked ahead in astonishment. A total of 9 figures appeared in front of him, and all of them were Dongbua Shuang dressed in dark blue robes. World clone, Bamboo Saint frowned. You want to stop me without a blood-refined god weapon? Without a blood-refined god weapon, I can still crush you. The 9 dark blue robes of Dongbua Shuang acted at the same time, and at the same instant, countless luminous sun force appeared in the surrounding space. Under the circulation of the luminous sun force, the surroundings changed. Bamboo Saint looked at his surroundings in astonishment. Originally, it was his ink bamboo land, but now it was a sealed world. However, a portion of this sealed world had already collapsed, turning into endless gray mist. The gray fog pervaded everywhere, enveloping Bamboo Saint. Bamboo Saint suddenly felt as though he had sunk into a swamp, and it was extremely strenuous for him to move. Domain? Bamboo Saint was shocked. Wasn't this Dongbua Shuang only slightly stronger in terms of strength and ordinary in other aspects? Forget about that move earlier. Even his domain technique was so terrifying. Dongbua Shuang nodded his head slightly when he saw that. All these years, he had also researched the tattered cloth that Ripple Lady Starlord gave him, and tried to complete the array. The profound mysteries contained within the array were extremely profound. Dongbua Shuang had researched it for many years, and a portion of his comprehension was used to create a secret technique. It was one of the 5 great secret techniques of the world: Sky Dome, Fog Prison. I actually can't escape. Bamboo Saint fell into this broken world, and after being enveloped by the gray fog, he knew that he couldn't escape. But my ink bamboo body is incomparably tough, and isn't that easy to destroy. Even if my body takes it, I can still resist for a period of time. Big brother, quickly come and save me. Bamboo Saint cried for help. Although he was crying for help, but he was still confident that he could survive. His body started to change, and all his bones, muscles, and skin started to change into that of black bamboo. Even his face became black bamboo, and his voice became ear-piercing. Dongbua Shuang, I never thought that after 700,000 years, your strength would be so much stronger than when you were in the 3 Chieftains' sacred mountain. But if you want to kill me, it won't be so easy. Ink Clan's Leaf Saint? In the distance, Dongbua Shuang, who was wielding his Scarlet Cloud Spear, used his karma to sense that Leaf Saint had already set off. But for him to rush over, he needed time. It's enough to kill him. Dying under my strongest killing technique is letting him off lightly. Dongbua Shuang's eyes were filled with cold intent. He swiped his waist and pulled out a flying dagger. Flying dagger, true god weapon. The dagger's hilt was black, and the blade was suffused with a silver luster. Chapter 632. Within the passage of time, a green-robed, black-skinned male was advancing at high speed. His face had tattoos, and there were 2 bumps on his forehead. He was one of the 2 saints of the Ink clan, Leaf Saint. Big brother, quick. He is completely suppressing me, and even used his domain to trap me. I can't escape at all. Bamboo Saint anxiously cried for help. You hold him back first. I am rushing over at my fastest speed. Leaf Saint transmitted. Leaf Saint was still very calm. The 2 of them were from the same clan and were like brothers. He was very clear of Bamboo Saint's strength. To kill Bamboo Saint in a short period of time under the Paragon realm was too difficult. Sometimes it was even hard to attack his true body. Countless branches and leaves surrounded him. It was easy to suppress him, but it was hard to even touch his body. It was even harder to kill him. His body was the body of ink bamboo, and even if he was injured, he would recover quickly. In the air above the ink bamboo continent, there was a sealed and slightly damaged heavenly passage world. It was the Sky Dome Fog Prison that Dongbua Shuang used. Within the Sky Dome Fog Prison, 9 world clones surrounded and attacked Bamboo Saint. Bamboo Saint held a red long rod that was also tens of thousands of miles long. On it, there were countless bamboo leaves and bamboo branches. These bamboo leaves and bamboo branches were executing rod techniques. Countless black air currents revolved around it, constantly blocking. The 9 world clones used ordinary weapons and could only barely suppress the bamboo rod from hitting Bamboo Saint's body. Bamboo Saint's body was ink black. Occasionally, when he was hit, there would be a few cracks, but they would instantly recover. Although I can't escape, after blocking most of the attacks with my weapons, my body can take the rest. Bamboo Saint thought. Furthermore, my pure strength-type body is more suited to resist. Although he consoled himself, Bamboo Saint was still speechless, because the one attacking him was merely a world clone and not a blood-refined deity weapon. It was enough to injure his ink bamboo body. If his true body attacked, his injuries would probably be much more severe. Thus, Bamboo Saint was also very vigilant as he sensed Dongbua Shui Ying's true body. What's going on? Bamboo Saint realized that Dongbua Shui Ying's true body had suddenly isolated all probing. His naked eyes were blocked by the gray fog and could not see anything. Although he was suspicious, Bamboo Saint still waved his long red rod. Countless branches and leaves spread out, enveloping the entire area. His defense was very tight. The 9 long spears were majestic as they smashed over time after time, suppressing Bamboo Saint. Suddenly, swish. Standing in the distance, Dongbua Shui Ying coldly stared at Bamboo Saint. The other party couldn't see him, but he could clearly see him through his domain. The flying dagger in his hand suddenly flew out. The moment the flying dagger was thrown out, it disappeared without a trace. The flying daggers had completely disappeared. He disappeared in time and space. It had also completely disappeared from this world. Ordinary almighties could not find this flying knife at all. This was a true god weapon. Flying daggers were meant for sneak attacks and assassination. It contained 2 Taos, the Tao of Mirage and the Tao of Slaughter. One could imagine that the person who had mastered these 2 paths and forged this true god weapon must have been an incredible assassin. The Tao of Mirage had already surpassed the laws of heaven and earth. Powerful existences who had grasped the laws of heaven and earth would naturally not be able to find this flying knife. In fact, this flying knife was traversing through a normal world. It was just that it belonged to a higher world. A normal world was like the first floor of a building. This flying knife was like the second floor. Thus, those who lived on the first floor would naturally not be able to touch the second floor. Logically speaking, the mirage was a reflection of the real world. The real world, the mirage, the shadow world, the world gap, etc. Only then would a complete world be formed. As for the Tao of Mirage, it had already jumped out of the complete world. On top of the complete world, it had created an even vaster mirage world. Although this mirage world was not perfected, it had already surpassed the real world. If the mirage world was perfected to eternity, one could borrow it to become a ruler. His methods would be even more unfathomable. Dongbua Shui Ying was only a stage 4 sky. Logically speaking, he should not be able to use such unfathomable methods. However, he borrowed the true god weapon to do so. A true god weapon was indeed unique. However, just refining was very difficult. Dongbua Shui Ying had spent a long time before he succeeded. 700,000 years of cultivation had allowed him to understand more about the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Slaughter. The power of this flying knife had also increased. This flying knife flew and soon arrived at Bamboo Saint. Following, it entered the real world from another world. Bamboo Saint, who could not sense its existence, had a huge change in expression. He lowered his head to look at his chest because a flying knife had suddenly appeared in his body. Boom! This flying knife was thrown by Dongbua Shui Ying. It carried the terrifying strength of Dongbua Shui Ying. Furthermore, when it finally entered the real world, the flying knife also displayed the power of the Tao of Slaughter. Dongbua Shui Ying had used the profound mysteries of the Tao of Slaughter and the profound mysteries of the world that he had cultivated for many years to create his strongest killing move. It was also one of the 5 great world secret techniques, floating blood on the tip of the blade. At this moment, the tip of the knife pierced into Bamboo Saint's body. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. No, Bamboo Saint felt fear, but he was helpless. Pump! Bamboo Saint's entire body suddenly exploded. This was much stronger than Dongbua Shui Ying's attack with his blood-refined deity weapon. This was the killing move of a true god weapon flying knife, an attack that activated the profound mysteries of the Tao of slaughter. Coupled with Dongbua Shui Ying's terrifying strength and the fact that there were no weapons blocking it, it directly exploded within his body. No matter how tough Bamboo Saint's body was, it was instantly shattered. Although it was shattered, the countless fragments were quickly gathering together. You want to repair it? Dongbua Shui Ying laughed coldly. Why would I give you the chance to do so? Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, there was no one controlling the red bamboo rod. Without any obstruction, the 9 world clones wantonly used their spears, causing the fragments to shatter once again. This made it impossible for them to gather together. For a strong cultivator, the moment his body was completely shattered, he was destined to die, because the enemy would continuously attack and exhaust his energy. With Dongbua Shui Ying's level of strength, he would not make such a low-level mistake, and would not give Bamboo Saint the chance to form a complete body. If he was unable to do so, he would not have any chance to turn the tables. Dongbua Shui Ying, I admit defeat. An incarnation condensed by the side. It was Bamboo Saint's incarnation. He immediately said, "Spare me, spare me." Although he had lost to the point of being dazed, he did not hesitate to admit defeat and beg for mercy. Dongbua Shui Ying did not stop. The 9 world clones continued to attack, continuously exhausting the energy within. That Sunstar nucleus stone, I am willing to return it. Bamboo Saint said loudly. Just one? Don't talk about one. Even if you return 2, it would be too late. Dongbua Shui Ying said coldly. At the same time, a flying blade returned to its sheath. Dongbua Shui Ying, don't bully others too much. Bamboo Saint was infuriated. The one he went out to fight was his clone. The one he left in his lair was his real body. He thought that it was safe in his lair. Thus, the treasures he had accumulated over the years, some of them were kept on his real body. The moment his real body was killed, his losses, bully others too much? You also know that you are bullying others too much? Dongbua Shui Ying sneered. You, Bamboo Saint was furious. Don't go overboard. Overboard? Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes were filled with cold intent. Who asked you to be weak? Bamboo Saint was startled. Not long ago, he had said the same thing to Chihua Laozu. Chapter 633. He had killed Chihua Laozu's body twice to steal the Sunstar nucleus stone. The first time, Chihua Laozu was furious and filled with despair. And the second time, Chihua Laozu was about to go crazy, and, at the same time, he felt guilty. That was the guilt he felt towards Dongbua Shui Ying. And now, Bamboo Saint also experienced the humiliation of being called, "Who asked you to be weak?" But no matter how humiliating it was, his main body could not die, and the treasures that his main body could not land in the hands of Dongbua Shui Ying. There are also treasures related to the sect leader. Maybe Dongbua Shui Ying won't be able to recognize them, but the moment he does, Bamboo Saint was anxious. If I am exposed, then I am finished. The connection with the sect leader. He could not be exposed. Dongbua Shui Ying, Monarch Dongbua. Bamboo Saint felt that the remaining true god power of his main body was becoming lesser and lesser, and his illusory incarnation's voice became mournful. Spare me. Everything can be discussed. Is that so? Dongbua Shui Ying glanced at him. Right. Everything can be discussed. Everything can be discussed. Bamboo Saint anxiously turned his head to look at the 9 world bodies in the distance. Why aren't you stopping? Stop? Dongbua Shui Ying sneered in his heart. Bamboo Saint had killed Chihua Laozu twice, and it was not his main body that had killed Bamboo Saint. Could it be that he would not even spare his body? On the other hand, the main body that was left in the nest would usually carry important treasures. Now that Bamboo Saint was begging like this, Dongbua Shui was even more certain. There must be an extremely important treasure hidden on him. Otherwise, if he doesn't have any important treasures, so what if he dies? It's just a body, and the other clone will be able to nurture another body very quickly. Kill him and obtain the treasures. At that time, we will have the qualifications to negotiate. If I let him go, he'll probably fall out with me once his elder brother, Leaf Saint, arrives to save him. Dongbua Shui was very clear about this. Therefore, the 9 world clones did not stop at all. Dongbua Shui also sensed the speed of the Leaf Saint through karma. It will probably take another 5 breaths of time. Dongbua Shui glanced at the countless black bamboo body powders. The powders were trying their best to congeal together again and again. He won't be able to last another breath. Stop, quickly stop, Bamboo Saint said hurriedly. His eyes were red. You really want to shed all pretense of cordiality with me? Dongbua Shui, you have children too. My children have already reached the 2nd heavenly layer. Dongbua Shui said calmly. Not only that, Dongbua Yu, Dongbua Qingyao, and Jingxiu all had clones in the Xia people's world. Then what about your countless descendants? Bamboo Saint went crazy. You've gone crazy just because I destroyed one of your bodies? Dongbua Shui laughed coldly. Then do it. If you dare to do it, I, Dongbua Shui, swear that I will destroy both your body and clone. After I destroy you, I will revive my descendants from the river of time. Bamboo Saint was startled. This Dongbua Shui had a good relationship with the peak paragons. His master was the Bloodblade, and he himself was very strong. He was indeed very confident when he said these words. Yu, Bamboo Saint was about to go crazy. This Dongbua Shui was not afraid of threats. He did not dare to shed all pretense of cordiality, because he wanted to get back his treasures. Can you stop first? We can talk about this later. Bamboo Saint's tone became gentler and gentler. However, his eyes were filled with unspeakable anxiousness. Dongbua Shui glanced at him. Have you forgotten how you treated me and Qihua? The moment he said that, Bamboo Saint looked at the powder in despair. The powder finally dissipated helplessly, turning into nothingness. Only the Eden treasures, storage treasures, and weapons were left. Who? Dongbua Shui took a step and arrived there. With a wave of his hand, he kept everything. It's in his hands. The handle is in his hands. Bamboo Saint's heart trembled. Leaf Saint, who was hurrying through the space-time passageway, was stunned. Dead? Leaf Saint frowned. Big brother, you must definitely kill Dongbua Shui. Kill him and take back my treasures. Almost everything I have accumulated over the years has been taken away by him. Big brother, you must help me. Bamboo Saint transmitted. But Paragon Hua Chung has already set off. His time-space traversing speed is much faster than mine. Leaf Saint transmitted. Indeed, Paragon Hua Chung was rushing over. Big brother, you must take it back. Do your best. Bamboo Saint was anxious. Negotiate? During the negotiation, would Dongbua Shui inspect the treasures one by one? If he was exposed, no one would be able to protect him. So the best method was to let his big brother, Leaf Saint, kill Dongbua Shui and take back the treasures. I will do my best. Leaf Saint transmitted. He was only worried about time. However, he was filled with confidence in dealing with Dongbua Shui. Leaf Saint's information was still lacking. He had never heard of the Destruction Paradise, nor did he know that Dongbua Shui was a member of the Army of Destruction. He believed that with his strength as a paragon, he had the confidence to deal with Dongbua Shui. Dongbua Shui was in the sky above the ink bamboo mainland. He could sense Leaf Saint and Paragon Hua Chung getting closer. Big brother, I'll have to trouble you. Dongbua Shui transmitted. Why didn't you inform me earlier? Paragon Hua Chung said, do you still treat me as your brother? Dongbua Shui transmitted. If Leaf Saint didn't come out, there would naturally be no need to trouble Big Brother. I didn't expect that Bamboo Saint would only lose a body and Leaf Saint would make a move. But I'm not afraid of this Leaf Saint. After all, he only has the strength of an ordinary paragon. Of course, with Big Brother supporting me, I will have more confidence. Following which, he took a step forward. Hua! Dongbua Shui Ying directly tore open a time-space tunnel and approached Paragon Huacheng. The most important thing for him was to take back the Sun Star Nucleus Stone. He was temporarily not in the mood to fight with Leaf Saint. Escape? Leaf Saint, who was rushing over, felt a headache. If Dongbua Shui Ying stayed at his original position, he would naturally be able to rush over and have more time to deal with Dongbua Shui Ying. But now, Dongbua Shui Ying had gone to meet up with Paragon Huacheng. I have to catch up to him. Leaf Saint chased anxiously. Time was too tight. Paragon Huacheng's speed was too fast, more than 6 times his speed. But Paragon Huacheng was ultimately rushing over from the other side of the God world. Chase! 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 Leaf Saint chased with all his might for his brother of the same race. Dongbua Shui Ying converged with Paragon Huacheng with all his might. Leaf Saint, stop. Paragon Huacheng transmitted through karma. Why, do you want to die? Just a little more. Leaf Saint didn't care. If Monarch Green said this, he would immediately surrender obediently. But Paragon Huacheng? He was only proficient in the Tao of Flames. Leaf Saint's Tao was originally proficient in preserving his life. In front of Paragon Huacheng, he had the confidence to survive. I caught up. Within the time-space tunnel, Leaf Saint saw Dongbua Shui Ying in front of him. Die! A strange branch appeared in Leaf Saint's hand. The branch had leaves, a total of 7 leaves. This was a true god weapon. Back then, it was this true god weapon that opened up his own path. At this moment, he attacked with all his might, executing a true god weapon attack. Humph! Shui Ying cannot escape, yet he stopped. The surrounding rumbled as the world underwent a huge transformation. Countless luminous sun force directly formed a broken world. The broken part of the world was currently collapsing, and grayish fog began spreading out, enveloping the distant Leaf Saint. Moreover, the 9 great world clones appeared. Dongbua Shui Ying brandished the Scarlet Cloud Spear in his hand. The Scarlet Cloud Spear and the other 9 spears he shrouded over at the same time. As for the Leaf Saint, he gently waved a branch and a leaf, lashing it against the Scarlet Cloud Spear. The terrifying power of the Scarlet Cloud Spear was constantly weakened, but it still made the Leaf Saint's expression change. He couldn't help but take 3 steps back in the air. At this moment, the 2 of them had already exited the time-space tunnel and arrived in the real world. The aftermath of the battle had turned some of the desolate planets into nothingness. What power! Leaf Saint was shocked. Although Dongbua Shui Ying was strong, when the branch leaf whipped on the Scarlet Cloud Spear, there was an extremely strange power transmitted over. Even the weapon was unable to dissipate the power. But when it was transmitted to the black armor on the surface of his body, the extreme annihilation mysterious body rapidly blocked off this mysterious power. The last bit of it couldn't threaten Dongbua Shui Ying's tyrannical body at all. What? Leaf Saint had been looking at Dongbua Shui Ying's movement from afar. He was clear of his own moves. Although he specialized in survival, he had ultimately opened a Tao path. Against those below the Paragon realm, it was still relatively easy. Why isn't there any movement? He withstood it just like that? Leaf Saint was shocked. His body is so resilient? How could he know? Amongst the apex paragons, even the white sovereign king who was famous for his slaughter could only cause a crack to appear on this armor. If he knew this, he wouldn't be shocked. Paragon Huacheng is about to arrive. There's no more time. Since I can't kill him immediately, I'll first imprison him and keep him my Eden treasure. Leaf Saint immediately changed his battle style. Chapter 634. Leaf Saint held onto the bamboo leaf and gently swung it. The bamboo leaf rapidly spread out. Dongbua Shui Ying's expression changed slightly. The surrounding heaven and earth had been surrounded by countless bamboo leaves. The bamboo leaves formed a cage of hundreds of billions of kilometers, trapping Dongbua Shui Ying within. Not good. Dongbua Shui Ying was inwardly shocked. My world energy has actually been isolated. isolated by world energy. His true body and world avatar could not be switched. Let him receive a blade from me. Dongbua Shui Ying instantly pulled out the flying knife from the scabbard by his waist. The flying knife looked ordinary, but the moment he held onto it and activated its power, Dongbua Shui Ying immediately felt the mirage world. That was the mirage world that was above the laws of the heaven and earth. By relying on the mirage world, he could naturally feel Leaf Saint, who was outside of the countless bamboo leaves. He had locked onto Leaf Saint. Go! Dongbua Shui Ying flung out the flying knife in his hand with all his might. The luminous sun force and extreme annihilation mysterious body fused into the flying knife, causing the flying knife to pierce through the mirage world at a terrifying speed. However, it cannot be seen in the real world. Surrender now. Leaf Saint controlled the true god weapon to form a huge cage that was rapidly shrinking. No paragon could be underestimated, even if they were ordinary paragons. After all, they had opened up their own Tao. They had absolute confidence in dealing with existences that were close to the paragon level. An ordinary true god or stage 4 world deity wanted to fight against them. They had to be sufficiently strong and also have a true god weapon, because a true god weapon also had the effect of being above the laws of the heaven and earth. Only by relying on one's own strength could one threaten a paragon. Chi chi chi, the countless bamboo leaves rapidly shrunk. Hong hong hong, within the cage, the 9 world avatars were using their spears as well, bombarding the bamboo leaves with their overwhelming strength, causing the speed at which the cage was shrinking to be slower. He has such great strength. I have to be faster, faster. Leaf Saint sensed Paragon Hua Cheng's position while giving it his all. Suddenly, Leaf Saint's expression changed drastically. He could faintly sense an extremely ferocious and terrifying power attacking him from another world. True god weapon. Leaf Saint immediately understood. The Tao of Mirage was similar to the Bloodblade's Tao of Shadows. Both were good at assassination. It was just that Dongbua Shui Ying had yet to open up the Tao of Mirage. He could only unleash such an effect by relying on the true god weapon. Thus, his attack was not concealed enough, allowing Leaf Saint to sense it in advance. If he had truly grasped the Tao of Mirage, he would probably only be discovered when the flying dagger landed on his body. However, even if he could sense it in advance, it would be of limited help. That was because the flying knife had descended from the void realm too suddenly. Not good. Leaf Saint moved at high speed. At the same time, he waved his left palm, causing countless leaves to surround him. Boom! The flying dagger suddenly appeared in the normal world from the Mirage world. Although Leaf Saint was moving at high speed, the flying dagger was only 3 feet away from his left when it appeared. Although Leaf Saint wanted to wave his palm, at such a close distance, with all of Dongbua Shui Ying's strength and the activation of the Tao of Massacre, Leaf Saint only needed to wave his palm slightly before the flying dagger pierced his body. Pung! Leaf Saint's body instantly exploded. The body of a paragon might not be much stronger than the body of an ordinary true god. Success. Dongbua Shui Ying revealed a look of delight. Once Leaf Saint's body exploded, the true god weapon was no longer controlled. Countless bamboo branches and leaves rapidly dissipated, revealing a single bamboo leaf. However, following that, this true god weapon vanished into thin air. 7 figures appeared at the same time. All 7 figures were Leaf Saint. He looked at Dongbua Shui Ying with an ugly expression. Leaf Saint, just a little bit more. Dongbua Shui Ying smiled. At this moment, a space-time tunnel was torn open in the starry sky beside him. From within, a violent figure bathed in flames walked out. He had messy red hair, red eyebrows, red skin, and his entire body was emitting a terrifying, blazing aura. His eyes landed on Leaf Saint from afar. With a deep voice, he said, "Leaf Saint, you sure have guts." The 7 Leaf Saints instantly merged into one. Leaf Saint looked at Dongbua Shui Ying. He was a paragon, yet he was unable to capture Dongbua Shui Ying with his full strength. In fact, that flying dagger could even shatter his body. Such a sinister, true god weapon. Leaf Saint thought to himself. A true god weapon flying dagger contains 2 Daos. After personally experiencing it, he knew how terrifying this flying dagger was. If it only contained the Dao of Mirage, then the flying dagger would at most be slightly strange. Its attack power wouldn't be too exaggerated. But the Dao of Slaughter coupled with Shui Ying's frightening strength was too sinister and ruthless. Hua! The flying dagger silently returned to its scabbard. Dongwu Shuiying was very satisfied. He didn't have any extravagant hopes of truly killing the other party. After all, Leaf Saint was famous for his ability to survive. Even Paragon Hua Cheng would find it hard to kill him. To be able to destroy the other party's body was already amazing. Actually, even if he couldn't destroy it, the flying dagger was enough to delay for time. Admirable, admirable. Leaf Saint stood in the starry sky and laughed. Monarch Dongbu's strength is indeed amazing. 700,000 years ago, Monarch was ranked 52nd on the Cosmos Deity Demon list. He was comparable to my brother. Who would have thought that he could easily destroy my brother's lair and one of his bodies? He could even easily protect himself in front of me. My brother Dongbua is amazing. There's no need for you to flatter him. Paragon Hua Cheng said coldly. Leaf Saint's face twitched. Flatter? He, a paragon, wanted to flatter a stage for world deity? Wasn't it because Paragon Hua Cheng was incomparably furious and wanted to ease the atmosphere? I told you to stop, yet you're still unwilling to let me go. Fortunately, Brother Dongbua is strong enough. Otherwise, he would have been captured by you. By then, you would probably have a different attitude in front of me. Paragon Hua Cheng was furious. He actually looked down on people like Leaf Saint. They were only good at surviving, but their true fighting strength was at the bottom of the paragons. But because they were hard to kill, Leaf Saint still dared to provoke him. Not being able to capture Monarch Dongbua is also because I'm not strong enough. I'm ashamed. Leaf Saint wasn't angry at all. Since both of us can't do anything to each other, then let's discuss and resolve this matter. How about that? Resolve? How are you going to resolve it? Paragon Hua Cheng said coldly. Dongbua Shuiying was watching silently by the side of Paragon Hua Cheng. Leaf Saint said, It wasn't easy for my brother Bamboo Saint to accumulate some treasures. Some of them are important to him, but to Monarch Dongbua, they wouldn't be of much use. So I hope to return all his treasures. Of course, that Sunstar Nucleus Stone, we will also return it to Monarch Dongbua. Dream on. Dongbua Shuiying couldn't help but shout. Leaf Saint was stunned as he looked at Dongbua Shuiying. He actually dared to do this. Dongbua Shuiying looked at Leaf Saint coldly. He really didn't place this paragon who only knew how to survive in his eyes. In a head-on battle, he wasn't afraid at all. Even if that bamboo leaf prison was used to trap the enemy, one must know that it was only the 9 world clones dealing with it. Dongbua Shuiying's true body didn't resist at all. Most importantly, Dongbua Shuiying's other 5 secret skills hadn't been used. His attacking methods were so weak, and he couldn't even suppress him in a head-on battle. Why would Dongbua Shuiying be afraid of him? Monarch Dongbua, what is the meaning of this? Leaf Saint said in a low voice. Bamboo Saint's treasures, you can forget about it. Dongbua Shuiying said coldly. As for the Sunstar Nucleus Stone, you have to hand over both of them, and we will forget about this matter. Otherwise, you can forget about ending this matter. Chapter 635. When Leaf Saint heard this, his eyebrows twitched, and he looked at Dongbua Shuiying coldly and sarcastically. Dongbua Shuiying, I'm only negotiating with you because of Paragon Hua Cheng. Don't go overboard. If Paragon Hua Cheng wasn't here, do you think I would let this matter rest? So what if you don't let this matter rest? Dongbua Shuiying said, What can you do to me? Leaf Saint was inwardly furious. That's right. Although the time they exchanged blows was short, that terrifying flying knife still made Leaf Saint fearful. He knew that he couldn't dodge that flying knife. As a paragon, he naturally looked down on stage for cultivators who couldn't transcend their lifespans. But from a rational point of view, he really couldn't capture someone as heaven-defying as Dongbua Shuang. Leaf Saint, I'm indeed a stage 4 world deity, but if I don't care about the price, it won't be hard for me to kill you. Dongbua Shuang said coldly, I can't kill you, but behind me, there are people who can. It's just that I'm not too willing to pay such a huge price. He wasn't lying. Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master owed him a huge favor. Paragon Huacheng was also his life and death brother. More importantly, even his master Bloodblade had to compensate him for the ancient cave dwelling. If Dongbua Shuang didn't want the treasure and let Bloodblade deal with an ordinary paragon, it would naturally be an easy matter. But using Bloodblade's promise on Leaf Saint was too much of a waste. Leaf Saint's pupils constricted. Behind him, Lord Green? I heard that Lord Green went to his opening banquet. Bloodblade also values this personal disciple. Between cultivators, the weak were prey to the strong. When Leaf Saint felt the threat brought by Dongbua Shuang, his original discrimination toward stage 4 world deities was suppressed. This Dongbua Shuang is, after all, the fastest person to reach stage 3 in history. He is a stage 4 world deity who can cultivate to a record. I can't underestimate him. Haha, I've said before, Imperial Monarch Dongbo is extremely powerful. Even I can't do anything to him. The Leaf Saint smiled, and then his expression darkened. But don't you think that it's a little too much for you to ask for 2 sun-star nucleus stones without giving anything in return? Too much. Dongbua Shuang shook his head. This matter can be sorted out. The source of this matter is that your brother from the same clan, Bamboo Saint, had killed Chihua Laozu twice. He had stolen 2 sun-star nucleus stones. One of them even belongs to me. I lent it to Chihua. Back then, I sent my incarnation down through karma to inform Bamboo Saint. I told him to stop, and Chihua and I could let bygones be bygones. What a pity Bamboo Saint looks down on me and Chihua, and still wantonly snatched it. He has been wantonly robbing us time and time again. Naturally, he has to be prepared to be robbed. Dongbua Shuang said coldly, these 2 sun-star nucleus stones belong to us in the first place. It's only right for us to take them back. As for his treasures, it can be considered his punishment for his wrongdoings. When Leaf Saint heard this, he couldn't help but want to explain. Enough. Paragon Huacheng, who was standing beside Dongbua Shuang, looked at Leaf Saint from afar and said angrily, Leaf Saint, I asked you to stop, but you didn't. Now that I'm here, you don't even apologize. I feel that you, Leaf Saint, are not putting me in your eyes at all. How would I dare? How would I dare? Leaf Saint hurriedly said. Paragon Huacheng had a bad temper and wasn't someone to be trifled with. Why wouldn't you dare? You're really gutsy. Paragon Huacheng sneered. There's no need to discuss this matter any further. These 2 sun-star nucleus stones belong to us in the first place. You have to return them. As for Bamboo Saint's treasures, take it as an apology for his arrogance and ignorance. And also for you, Leaf Saint, offending me and Dongbua Shuang. This isn't too much, right? Leaf Saint hesitated. If you infuriate me, I'll destroy your lair and kill you until you flee in all directions. Paragon Huacheng sneered. I'll call 1 or 2 of my good friends to surround and kill you. Seeing this, Leaf Saint hurriedly laughed. Well said, well said. He had been in the deity world and abyss for such a long period of time. Naturally, he wouldn't be killed so easily. His true body and avatar were separated. Moreover, he had many good friends. At the crucial moment, he could just throw his lot in with the ruler. However, there was really no need to fall out with Paragon Huacheng. Once they fell out, his future days would be tough. And at another location, a planet. Surrounding, it was an enormous starry sky array. On the array, there were numerous illusory swords flowing. On the planet, there were also some buildings. This was where Leaf Saint cultivated. Big brother, Bamboo Saint was dressed in black robes. He hurriedly said, You must take back my treasures. I can't take them back. The golden-robed Leaf Saint, who was standing on a mountain peak and looking down at the plain, said, Dongbua Shui Ying's strength has exceeded my expectations. I can't capture him. Paragon Hui Chung has threatened me, asking you to hand over the 2 Sun-Star nucleus stones. Otherwise, they will kill their way over and destroy this place of mine. They will chase after you and me. Bamboo Saint was startled. So tyrannical? Hand it over. Leaf Saint sighed. Don't fight with them. This Dongbua Shui Ying isn't someone to be trifled with. Hand it over? Bamboo Saint felt bitter in his heart. How did he hand it over? That year, the Sun-Star nucleus stone had already been given to the religious master. Currently, he only had a single Sun-Star nucleus stone on him, and those treasures had to be retrieved. The moment they were exposed, he would be finished. There's no other way. Bamboo Saint thought carefully and finally made up his mind. Big brother, Bamboo Saint hurriedly said, I only have 1 Sun-Star nucleus stone on me. As for the other one, I have already exchanged it with other powerful existences. That's all. Leaf Saint looked at him. And it's really all gone. Bamboo Saint said. Then who did you exchange it with? Leaf Saint asked. I promised before that I wouldn't make it public. Bamboo Saint said. I said it, but they don't believe me. You go and tell them. Leaf Saint said. In the starry sky, Dongbua Shui Ying and Paragon Hui Chung stood side by side in the void. Opposite them, a gradually solidifying illusory figure appeared by the side of Leaf Saint. It was Bamboo Saint's incarnation. Monarch Dongbua, Paragon Hui Chung. Bamboo Saint laughed along. At the same time, he shouted out loudly, Bloodblade can bear witness. I, Bamboo Saint, have long traded away the first Sun-Star nucleus stone I obtained from Chihuo Laozu. I really don't have any more. Right now, I only have 1 Sun-Star nucleus stone. Even if you kill me, I won't be able to take out a second one. The distant Dongbua Shui Ying and Paragon Hui Chung were both startled. Traded? Who did you trade with? Dongbua Shui Ying asked. The other party is also afraid of being exposed. I have long sworn an oath not to reveal his identity. Bamboo Saint said helplessly. Dongbua Shui Ying and Paragon Hui Chung exchanged glances. Since his master, Bloodblade, was the witness of the oath, then it shouldn't be fake. Traded to other powerful existences? Most probably the other party was afraid of attracting trouble, so he wanted to keep his identity a secret? You snatched 2 Sun-Star nucleus stones, and you only want to return one? Paragon Hui Chung said angrily. I don't dare. I also want to return more, but my treasures are with Monarch Dongbua. Bamboo Saint said bitterly. Paragon Hui Chung looked at Leaf Saint. If he can't afford it, then you can. Leaf Saint felt a headache. Dongbua Shui Ying was watching from the side. To be able to make the 2 saints of the ink race pay more blood, Dongbua Shui Ying was extremely willing. After all, if his strength was slightly weaker and he was captured by Leaf Saint, the situation would be completely different. Both sides had negotiated to this stage, and the next step was very easy. Leaf Saint paid some more treasures, and Bamboo Saint also handed over the Sun-Star nucleus stone. Both sides stopped here. Big brother Hui Chung, let's go. Let's go. Dongbua Shui Ying and Paragon Hui Chung tore open a time-space tunnel and left. Leaf Saint and Bamboo Saint were both helpless. They rarely suffered losses, but this time they really suffered a huge loss. And in Leaf Saint's old nest, Bamboo Saint quickly returned to a meditation room. He immediately used a special communication treasure. This communication treasure was something only he could activate. Protector, I have something to report to the cult master. What is it? Through the communication treasure, Protector asked calmly. Almost all the treasures that you guys gave me, including the various treasures that you asked me to collect, are all gone. Bamboo Saint transmitted. What? All gone? Protector was shocked. Chapter 636. In a distant colossus, in a very ordinary hall, a purple-robed lady had a face of shock as she transmitted a message to Bamboo Saint. What's going on? The purple-robed female had dark brown skin and a pair of golden eyes. She had no eyebrows nor hair, and her entire being emitted a cold feeling. Even though she was wearing a purple robe, she was still emitting an invisible aura. This was the aura emitted by her extremely tyrannical body. The strength of this aura was far above that of Dongbua Shuang. She had an extremely unique point, and that was that she did not have any karma threads. It's like this. Didn't you guys tell me that the Sunstar Nucleus Stone was on Chihuahua Laozu? Bamboo Saint immediately reported, I killed Chihuahua Laozu and obtained the Sunstar Nucleus Stone. That Dongbua Shuang killed his way to my place and destroyed my protective array by himself, killing my true body. My treasures were all placed on my true body, while my avatar moved outside. This time, all the treasures on my true body were lost. Even this Sunstar Nucleus Stone that I had just obtained, because of Paragon Huacheng's pressure, I had no choice but to hand it over. Only then did Dongbua Shuang and Paragon Huacheng stop. All gone. The purple-robed female protector squinted her eyes. Some of my treasures. If Dongbua Shuang were to inspect them carefully, he might discover my relationship with you guys. Bamboo Saint transmitted, the moment I am exposed, I will be dead. So I hope the protector can report this matter to religious leader. I believe that with religious leader's monstrous strength, he should be able to easily kill Dongbua Shuang and take away all the treasures he obtained from me. That way, I won't have to be exposed. Kill Dongbua Shuang? The purple-robed female protector asked, What treasures have you collected? According to the mission religious leader has given me, the 8th mission's treasures have been collected, and only the fern-crying beard is left. The other missions have also collected a small amount of treasures. Bamboo Saint reported, I understand. The violet-robed female protector said, I will report this matter to the sect master. Thank you, protector. Thank you, protector. Bamboo Saint hurriedly said, If there's any news, I'll have to trouble protector to inform me. He had no other choice. Killing Dongbua Shuang to silence him? As the lord of the material world, Dongbua Shuang could not be killed by anyone in the divine world or the abyss. Unless the Xia people's world was destroyed, only then would there be a chance to kill Dongbua Shuang. The other was to kill Dongbua Shuang's body in the Black Mist Sea and take back all of his treasures. As long as Dongbua Shuang did not discover the secrets behind them, it would not be too late. But even so, it was still very difficult. The Black Fog Sea was within the territory of the Bloodshed God Palace. The number 1 on the Cosmos Deity Demon list, Bloodblade, could instantly appear in the Black Fog Sea to save his disciple. Furthermore, from the previous battle, Bamboo Saint had vaguely deduced that it would not be easy for ordinary paragons to kill Dongbua Shuang. As for Apex Paragons, he did not have the face to ask others to act. The only way was to let the religious leader act. The violet-robed female protector cut off the transmission. She pondered for a moment before muttering, Truly trash. He did not even complete such a simple task. Saying that, the violet-robed female protector stood up, opened the palace door, and walked out. Very soon, she arrived at a wide and simple stone corridor. On the 2 sides of the corridor, there would occasionally be other figures. Along the way, she met 5 black-robed men, 3 black-armored figures, and 1 violet-armored expert. Protector you. Some of the black-robed men and black-armored experts respectfully greeted her. As for the only violet-armored expert, he merely glanced at her from afar without saying anything. Very soon, she reached the end of this ancient corridor. There was an enormous bronze door at the end. This enormous door was filled with traces of rust. After the violet-robed female protector walked over, the bronze door rumbled as it opened. This was an ancient and majestic palace hall. Inside the hall, there was a huge man with 2 fangs and a few pieces of rags wrapped around his body, sitting cross-legged. More than half of the huge man's skin was exposed. His skin was greenish-brown, as though it was made of rock. Dong, 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 dong. The entire hall was filled with the sound of a heartbeat. The sound was distant and carried a strange magical power. Even the violet-robed female protector felt her heart stifle. Religious leader. The violet-robed female protector walked over and sat cross-legged as well. Both of them sat cross-legged. The sound of the heartbeat suddenly disappeared. The huge Fang Man also slowly opened his eyes. It was a pair of unfathomable eyes that seemed to contain a galaxy. He looked at the violet-robed female protector and revealed a smile. Although his face was ugly, his smile had a formless power, causing the surrounding heaven and earth to become cheerful and warm. "Little Nethery, what's the matter?" The huge Fang Man smiled dotingly. "The person called Bamboo Sane has caused trouble." The violet-robed female protector started to explain everything clearly. The huge Fang Man nodded his head lightly. "Donghua Shuang? It seems like Bloodblade has taught yet another powerful disciple. Not only is he strong, he is also very good at teaching disciples." Amen. The violet-robed female protector nodded her head. They were all very clear. How terrifying was that Bloodblade? After all, he was the strongest existence in this cosmos. This Bamboo Sane has actually almost gathered all the materials needed for the heaven-crippling egg. The huge Fang Man shook his head lightly. "What a pity that it has landed in the hands of this Donghua Shuang." "Do you want to kill Donghua Shuang?" the violet-robed female protector asked. "He has Paragon Huocheng by his side. Even if I were to act, Paragon Huocheng would be able to withstand 1 or 2 moves. Temporal Island Lord, Bloodblade, Primal Master, and the rest would arrive one by one. Thus, it is not suitable for us to act now. Furthermore, they will soon reach the Black Fog Sea." The huge Fang Man said, "The Black Fog Sea is within the Bloodshed God Palace territory. Bloodblade can instantly appear at any location within the territory. As for Bloodblade, it is better for us to temporarily retreat. We have already suffered some losses in his hands." The violet-robed female protector nodded. She then said, "No, should we act against Donghua Shuang? Wait till he leaves the Bloodshed God Palace territory. There are no apex paragons by his side. I'll arrange for another protector to kill him." The huge Fang Man laughed. "He is just a stage 4 world deity with some opportunities. He isn't much of a threat. It's just that it would be a pity not to bring back those materials." Amen. The violet-robed female protector nodded. "It's a pity that we can't wantonly collect the materials. We don't have any karmic lines. The moment we reveal ourselves, we will attract Bloodblade and the others to gang up on us." The huge Fang Man shook his head. "Thus, we must treasure those who rely on us. The stronger they are, the more we need to protect them. But Bamboo Sane is just an ordinary true god. His value to us is very ordinary. Since he has been exposed, we must silence him. After all, he knows quite a lot about us." Amen. The violet-robed female protector nodded. "You should first stabilize him." The huge Fang Man chuckled. "After some time, he will die silently." "Yes." The violet-robed female protector nodded. She then turned around and left. The huge Fang Man sank into deep thought. "Who?" His figure disappeared. Following that, he appeared in a dark, towering palace hall not far away. This dark palace hall had an enormous 3-legged cauldron. Beneath the cauldron, there was a flame burning. Within the cauldron, there was some liquid flowing continuously. In front of the cauldron, there was a thin and weak old man curled up. Even though he was thin and weak, the old man's eyebrows were so long that they touched the ground. Furthermore, he was emitting a terrifying aura. This aura revolved around the 3-legged cauldron, controlling the flame within. The strength of this aura far surpassed that of a paragon. "You came?" The thin and weak old man glanced at the huge Fang Man who appeared beside him. "I know what you and little kid Nethery talked about. You wanted to kill that Bamboo Saint." "Yes." The huge Fang Man chuckled. "After all, he knows some information about us. Currently, he is hiding in the lair of that Leaf Saint. If we want to kill him stealthily, only you can do it. Their cosmos is completely different from our cosmos." The thin and weak old man nodded. "Even though their bodies are very weak, their battle prowess is very exquisite, far surpassing us. They are comprehending the Tao, comprehending the laws and profound mysteries. Before coming to this cosmos, I did not know anything about the laws and profound mysteries. The arrays that they set up are really hard for us to sneak in silently. It is very mystical. After coming into contact with their cultivation methods, it has also broadened my horizons. The huge fanged man said, "My battle techniques have also improved by a lot. Our cultivation system is the perfect one. As for them, they have to carefully explore every step." The thin and weak old man shook his head. "Give me the blood of that bamboo saint." Previously, he relied on us. We have already obtained the blood. The huge fanged man waved his hand, and a drop of sparkling dark green blood flew towards the thin and weak old man. Since coming to this cosmos, I have never truly made a move. Instead, I have been secretly killing these little fellows. Including this one, I have already killed 3. The thin and weak old man said, "In half a month, he will definitely die." Bamboo Saint was temporarily staying at his elder brother, Leaf Saint's place. At the same time, he was nurturing another body. Religious leaders said that Dongbua Shui Ying is together with Paragon Huacheng. It would be troublesome to kill him directly. We will need some time to make arrangements. You just need to wait for the results. The female protector transmitted the news. Bamboo Saint heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. He had blind confidence in the religious leader, because only after coming into contact with him did he understand the terrifying strength that the religious leader had. However, as a powerful existence, he was also very vigilant. Therefore, he temporarily stayed at his elder brother's place. The Tao that his elder brother opened was famous for being good at survival. His lair had also been managed for a long time, so it was still relatively safe here. Dongbua Shuang, I'll let you be happy for now. Bamboo Saint was filled with anticipation. Very soon, the religious leader's side will make his move. Asterisk asterisk today, it was slightly slower. Star. Chapter 637. Within the time-space tunnel. This time, it's all thanks to Big Brother Huacheng. If not for Big Brother, the 2 saints of Ink Clan wouldn't have lowered their heads so easily. Dongbua Shuang said, "I only showed myself and didn't fight." Paragon Huacheng chuckled, "But Dongbua, your strength isn't bad. You can even fight evenly with Leaf Saint. I believe that once the news of this battle spreads out, the powerful existences of Deity World and Abyss will be shocked. Maybe my master will change the Cosmos Deity Demon list again." Dongbua Shuang chuckled. Primal Master would change the Cosmos Deity Demon list whenever he wanted to. Sometimes he would drag it out for a long time because he was in seclusion. The ranking of strength is just a small matter. Dongbua Shuang said, "To me, the most important thing is transcendence. Calculating it, it has been more than 1,000,000 years since you were born." Paragon Huacheng said, "With Dongbua's perception and talent, it is about time for you to transcend." My master said the same thing. Dongbua Shuang shook his head. "If everything goes smoothly, I will naturally transcend in a flash of inspiration. But now I am lacking this final step." Paragon Huacheng nodded. "You can't rush it. But from your actions this time, I can see that your current cultivation realm is very deep. Your spear techniques are considered top-notch, even amongst powerful existences." Dongbua Shuang chuckled. He asked himself, and felt that the 5 secret skills he created were strong enough. They were considered top-notch below the Paragon realm. You have comprehended all 9 deity hearts, and your cultivation realm is very deep. Your perception is also very high. Paragon Huacheng said, "Everything has been prepared to the extreme. If you say you will break through, then you will. I advise you to go out and walk around. The different things you meet will give you different stimulation. Who knows, you might even be stimulated and transcend in an instant." Amen. Dongbua Shuang nodded. "I think so too." "Ha ha. Then let me congratulate you in advance. You have transcended. Us brothers can be eternal brothers." Paragon Huacheng laughed, after which he turned his head and looked into the distance. Black Fog Sea is about to arrive. I think I shall not go to your Black Fog Sea. When he sees that Chihua Laozu, he will feel even more embarrassed. Dongbua Shuang was stunned for a moment before nodding his head. Although he had managed to retrieve the Sunstar Nucleus Stone in the end, Chihuo Laozu still felt very remorseful and guilty. After Dongbua Shuiying separated from Paragon Huacheng, he descended upon the Black Fog Sea Monarch Manor. Inside the mansion, Dongbua Shuiying saw Yu Jingxiu, Dongbua Yu, and Chihuo Laozu, who had been waiting for him. Who? Dongbua Shuiying landed. Father, you're back so soon. How is it? Dongbua Yu hurriedly asked. Beside him, Jingxiu revealed a smile. As for Chihuo Laozu, he had a complicated expression. Dongbua Shuiying laughed. He looked at Chihuo Laozu and threw the Sunstar Nucleus Stone over. Chihuo Laozu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the Sunstar Nucleus Stone. If he didn't manage to snatch it back, how was Dongbua Shuiying going to return it to Ripple Lady Planet Lord? If he allowed Dongbua Shuiying to fall into a predicament, or even be forced to do something, Chihuo Laozu would never be able to forgive himself. Snow Eagle. Chihuo Laozu walked to Dongbua Shuiying's side. He placed the Sunstar Nucleus Stone in Dongbua Shuiying's hands. Keep it. This. Dongbua Shuiying was stunned. If I keep this, I'll feel anxious. Chihuo Laozu shook his head. You can snatch it back this time. Do you think I'll let you snatch it back again if something happens in the future? Dongbua Shuiying said, Bamboo Saint wouldn't dare to do that again. If he doesn't dare, what about the other powerful existences? Chihuo Laozu rejected. Through karma, I can sense that one of Bamboo Saint's bodies had died. With such a huge commotion, I'm afraid that the entire deity world and abyss would know about it. At that time, the matter of me possessing this Sunstar Nucleus Stone would probably be dug out. Dongbua Shuiying nodded his head lightly. The commotion from the previous battle was too huge. It enveloped the entire Ink Bamboo continent. Bamboo Saint had a large number of subordinates within the Ink Bamboo continent. Those subordinates would probably tell their good friends about this world-shaking battle. The Temporal Temple would also know about this battle through space-time. After all, even an isolation treasure would not be able to isolate such a huge battle. The news of this battle would definitely be spread. Thus, it's not suitable for me to bring the Sunstar Nucleus Stone along. I'm not willing to bring along. Chihuo Laozu shook his head. This matter was a mistake from the very beginning. For the sake of cultivation, I shamelessly asked for your help. Actually, this matter placed a lot of pressure on you. If it was an ordinary powerful existence, I would have rejected it. However, you didn't hesitate to help me with this matter. This time, I've stirred up trouble, and I've asked you to stand up for me. The next time I get robbed, I'll ask you to stand up for me. Those who dare to make a move are probably confident in themselves. Who knows, it might be a paragon. Chihuo Laozu shook his head. My heart is restless. Even if I have the treasure, I won't be able to cultivate peacefully. Since that's the case, I won't bring it along. Chihuo Laozu looked at Dongbua Shuiying. You should understand my intentions. I understand. Dongbua Shuiying nodded. All right. To cultivate, there is no need to stay in the Sunstar. I will go explore the other ruins. Chihuo Laozu said. Snow Eagle, then I won't stay here any longer. There's no need to send me off. Wait. Dongbua Shuiying hurriedly said, Old ancestor, your Eden treasures and weapons have landed with Bamboo Saint, right? Chihuo Laozu was startled, but he nodded. The first time he was killed, the clone that was left behind in the Sunstar was the one with the most treasures. That time, when he was killed, all the treasures were taken away. Dongbua Shuiying smiled and waved his hand. Instantly, many treasures floated into the air. Among them was a strange wooden staff. This was also the most famous weapon of Chihuo Laozu, according to the intelligence reports. I won't reject then. Chihuo Laozu revealed a look of joy as he kept his blood-refined deity weapon and other treasures. Chihuo Laozu left very straightforwardly and in a relaxed manner. Clearly, the Sunstar Nucleus Stone was a psychological burden to him, and everything was as expected. Just 6 hours after Dongbua Shuiying returned to the Black Fog Sea, the outside world had already started to spread the news of that battle. Powerful existences could easily control time to rewind to check on that battle. Dongbua Shui Ying killed his way to the Ink Bamboo mainland in a rage. With just a single move, he destroyed the law-guarding array of the Ink Bamboo mainland. Bamboo Saint actually couldn't escape and was killed on the spot. Bamboo Saint released the news himself, saying that Dongbua Shui Ying had a true god weapon. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to not escape. One-on-one, he killed Bamboo Saint. Bamboo Saint is an existence that is close to the Paragon level. Dongbua Shui Ying and Leaf Saint also fought. Both of them were equally matched. All sorts of news were spreading, especially among the veteran stage 4-world deities, as well as the powerful existences. The news spread even faster. In fact, even the Paragons and Hegemons knew about this. Because the stronger they were, the more they understood that it wasn't easy for Dongbua Shui Ying to achieve such a result. In the deity world, in the void, there was a continuous chain of mountains. Among them, there was a figure sitting cross-legged on the peak of the tallest mountain. This figure was sitting cross-legged on a huge rock. His clothes were tattered, his hair was messy, and his feet were bare. At first glance, he looked just like a beggar. However, the moment he opened his eyes, no one treated him as a beggar. His eyes were gentle, without any tyranny. Instead, they were upright and majestic, causing others to feel that he was the ruler of this world. He was Monarch Green. He was clearly a paragon, yet he was an existence that could fight against rulers. This junior brother of mine, his strength has been improving by leaps and bounds. Monarch Green smiled, as expected of someone who broke the record of Stage 3. Previously, other than those who are already dead, the remaining ones who broke the record are me and the Temporal Island Lord. I wonder how far this junior brother of mine can go. Currently, he has cultivated for more than 1,000,000 years. I reckon that it's about time for him to transcend. Monarch Green silently said. He felt that this was a matter of course. With Dongbua Shui Ying's comprehension ability, and without any karma, transcending should be relatively easy. Chapter 638. Within the courtyard of a wooden house in the Bloodshed God Palace. Currently, there were two figures sitting opposite each other, drinking and chatting. One of them was the Bloodshed God Emperor with a black bird on his shoulder, and the other was a muscular man with a face full of beard stubble, wearing a loose robe. Even as he sat there, this muscular man gave off a strange feeling as if the world around him was collapsing, as if every single movement of his could easily tear apart this world. Are you convinced? Bloodblade laughed. Primal placed me first, and it wasn't just for show. I thought I could defeat you this time, but I was still lacking by a bit. Bloodblade, you started cultivating much later than me. So how do you know so much? This bearded muscular man said while drinking. He was clearly unhappy. This muscular man seemed simple and honest. He was the first powerful existence in the entire Dark Abyss, and was even called the Abyss Primogenitor. His combat power was unfathomable, and even someone as proud and confident as Primal Master placed him second on the Cosmos Deity Demon list, while Primal Master placed him third. Even though he was called the Abyss Primogenitor, he was not cruel or ruthless, and could be said to be the most peaceful of the three rulers of the Dark Abyss. Your cultivation path is different from mine. Bloodblade held his wine cup, laughing. You have borrowed the cultivation system of another cosmos discovered by Ancestor Devil, and you are indeed suited for that system. But in our entire cosmos, you are alone, because you're the only one cultivating along this system. There's one more. Abyss Primogenitor said, Bitter Cultivator, that brat is the same, but he is a paragon, and his realm is far from yours. He is unable to help you. Bloodblade said, I am different. I comprehend the laws and profound mysteries and develop an inner world. This is the orthodox cultivation system of our cosmos. I can discuss the Tao with other rulers and gain experience from the records left behind by the previous cosmos epochs. Naturally, my growth will be faster. Sophistry. Abyss Primogenitor frowned and snorted. Temporal Island Lord, Primal Master, Nile, and the others are all cultivating normally. But why are they weaker than you? You are truly too monstrous. Ha ha ha. Bloodblade laughed. Thank you for your praise. I am very happy to hear it. Even Bloodblade felt refreshed when the second strongest person in the entire cosmos praised him. Your disciple is quite powerful. The Abyss Primogenitor suddenly exclaimed. Bloodshed God Emperor had also received the news at the same time. The two of them were the two with the highest positions in this cosmos. They were the first to receive the news and knew about Dongbua, Shui, Ying, and Bamboo Saint. This kid is actually able to achieve this and is comparable to that Leaf Saint. Bloodblade nodded lightly. It seems that apart from the true God weapon, he should have accumulated quite a bit in terms of his own realm. Calculating the time, he has cultivated for more than 1,000,000 years. He should be able to transcend soon. Judging from his cultivation speed, it shouldn't be a problem for him to become a paragon, the Abyss Primogenitor said. Become a ruler? It depends on fate, tempering, comprehension, and many other aspects. Bloodblade nodded. Was Qing Jun's perception high? He had cultivated all 3 Daos to the bottleneck, but he had not broken through the final bottleneck to become a ruler. Sovereign, don't think too far ahead. Take it one step at a time. Transcend first. Bloodblade smiled. He was quite satisfied with his disciple. Black Fog Sea, Underground Hall. Dongbua Shuang was currently inspecting the large amount of treasures he had obtained from Bamboo Saint. Although the outside world was in an uproar and many powerful existences had sent messages to him, Dongbua Shuang was naturally elated. However, he was still very clear-headed. He understood that external combat strength was not his foundation. His foundation was still his realm. Transcending as soon as possible was the most important. This Bamboo Saint has collected so many treasures. Dongbua Shuang was speechless. My harvest this time is too huge. The accumulation of an existence that was close to the Paragon realm was naturally shocking. The treasures he collected are much more than what I expected. There are many precious materials, too. Dongbua Shuang was slightly shocked. It was not easy to collect so many rare and strange materials. Previously, he had spent so much effort to find the 12 materials needed to condense the Sunstar Nucleus Stone. As for Bamboo Saint, he had even more rare treasures. Putting the materials aside, Dongbua Shuang was mainly inspecting those that were beneficial to cultivation. Dang. There were 3 pieces of black metal, and on each piece, there were densely packed golden words. The records on them made Dongbua Shuang feel that it was incomparably profound. It's actually the records of comprehending the laws and profound mysteries. With a single look, Dongbua Shuang could not help but be attracted to it. This was dissecting the laws and profound mysteries from another angle. I'll slowly inspect it later. Dongbua Shuang continued to look at the other treasures. Thereafter, he picked up a lamp. It was a bronze lamp. There were strange runes on the bronze lamp. The flame of the lamp was like a bean, flickering and burning. The flame was dark green in color. So strange. Dongbua Shuang faintly felt that this bronze lamp should have some secret. If not, why would it be an ordinary lamp? How is that possible? It was just that his vision was limited and his realm was not high enough. Thus, he was unable to see through it. Dongbua Shuang continued to look at the other treasures. Treasure after treasure. Either Bamboo Saint snatched them, or he obtained them from some ancient ruins. They are all ancient treasures. Dongbua Shuang nodded his head slightly. No rush. I'll slowly study them by my side. First, I'll study the black metal board. Dongbua Shuang picked up the black metal board and immersed himself in it. God World. Bamboo Saint was currently in his courtyard. This was the nest of his brother, Leaf Saint, so he was rather at ease. Bamboo Saint's mood was not good, because the outside world was in an uproar. Everyone was shocked at Dongbua Shuang's strength, and he, Bamboo Saint, was merely a stepping stone. If not for him having a true god weapon, how would he be able to destroy my body so easily? Bamboo Saint squinted his eyes. Let him be happy for now. Since religious leader has said so, he should take action. When he dies, everything he snatched from me will be taken away by religious leader. Even the true God weapon will be taken away. Umph. At that time, he will regret it so much that he wants to cry. The more unhappy Bamboo Saint was, the more he hoped that Domboy Shui Ying would suffer. He was waiting. Amen. Bamboo Saint frowned. He held onto his head. Why do I feel that something is wrong? First, he felt dizzy. Following that, he felt extremely uncomfortable and nauseous. His true deity heart felt like it was being torn apart. Not good. Bamboo Saint knew that something was wrong. How could such a situation happen to a powerful being? But following that, his already distorted true deity heart was torn apart. Following that, it dissipated into nothingness. Bamboo Saint's eyes widened. His body fell to the ground and laid there motionlessly. Bamboo Saint died. He died just like that. He died without a sound. Because the time was too short, he did not have time to nurture his clone. This death naturally meant that both his true body and clone were destroyed. Even if he nurtured a clone, the outcome would be the same. As for his brother, Leaf Saint, he quickly discovered this shocking scene. From the start to the end, he did not discover any enemies, any external aura, or even any traces of battle. His brother, Bamboo Saint, was already dead. Temporal Island. Surrounding this island, there were many small islands. These small islands range from a few kilometers to a few 100,000 kilometers. It was like a cluster of stars surrounding the Temporal Island. On the Temporal Island, there was an extremely grand and dazzling palace. Within the palace, a fragrance permeated the air. In the palace, there was a grass mat made of silvery white grass. The grass mat was placed on top of the palace. A black-robed, black-haired male was currently sitting cross-legged on the grass mat with his eyes closed in meditation. His eyebrows were like sharp swords, and his expression was cold. He was the existence in the entire deity world and abyss that specialized in controlling space-time. Temporal Island Lord. Countless lives were controlled by him to carry out death missions. Master, a deep voice rang out. I have something to report. What's the matter? Temporal Island Lord opened his eyes. He knew that this deep voice belonged to his most loyal subordinate, the Temporal Temple. The Temporal Temple had always been operating and monitoring the entire cosmos. If there wasn't anything important, it wouldn't disturb him. Bamboo Saint is dead. Both his true body and clone were destroyed. However, his death was extremely strange. The deep voice said, Chapter 639. In the deity world, within the courtyard where Bamboo Saint's corpse was, his elder brother, Leaf Saint, stood by the side with a frown. How did he die? How did he kill himself? It can't be suicide, right? Stage 4 world deities might have their true deity heart dissipate, but they would choose to reincarnate before they dissipated. How did his brother, who had become a powerful existence, die so silently? Who? Suddenly, a figure appeared by the side. Leaf Saint was startled. His territory was heavily protected by arrays, yet an outsider had suddenly appeared. But the moment he saw that cold, black-robed, black-haired male, he immediately bowed respectfully. Greetings, Temporal Island Lord. The person who came was Temporal Island Lord. With his control over space-time, it was normal for him to appear here stealthily. Did the treasure spirit of the shrine tell you? Temporal Island Lord indifferently asked. Yes. Leaf Saint answered. You didn't discover any traces of activity? Temporal Island Lord asked again. Nothing. Leaf Saint answered. This cultivation ground of mine is heavily protected by arrays. Those who could appear here stealthily can be counted with one's fingers in the deity world and abyss. Those with the status of rulers would disdain doing such a thing. Temporal Island Lord lightly nodded. If they wanted to kill an ordinary true deity, they had plenty of methods to do so. Even if they caused a huge commotion, they would not care. After all, those who offended rulers would be killed without mercy. Killing an ordinary powerful existence stealthily like this was too demeaning to rulers. The temporal island lord looked down at the corpse that was lying on the ground with his eyes wide open. Without making a sound, he had already checked through the corpse. After inspecting it a few times, temporal island lord frowned slightly. South then, he disappeared into thin air. Leaf Saint stood by the side in a daze. He left just like that? There was nothing else he could say? Should he keep this corpse? Or dispose of it? Leaf Saint, Master has finished inspecting the corpse. You can handle this as you wish. The treasure spirit's voice transmitted over. Within the wooden courtyard of the Bloodshed God Palace, Abyss Primogenitor and Bloodblade were currently drinking and chatting when suddenly, a figure rapidly arrived outside the wooden house. It's him. Abyss Primogenitor glanced outside in shock. The door of the wooden house was pushed open. The black-robed, black-haired temporal island lord walked in with a cold expression. It's rare for you to come here. Bloodblade's lips curled up. Aren't you afraid that I'll destroy your avatar? It's related to the ancestor mother religion. Temporal island lord indifferently said. Ancestor mother religion? Bloodblade and Abyss Primogenitor were both startled. They turned solemn. What's going on? What did you find? Bloodblade asked. Temporal island lord said, My God Palace treasure spirit discovered that Bamboo Saint has died. Furthermore, his death was strange. After investigating, it seems to be a method used by the ancestor mother religion to silence him. Silencing the ancestor mother religion? Bloodblade frowned. Bamboo Saint died in the cultivation grounds of his elder brother, Leaf Saint. When he died, there were no signs of battle, and his true deity heart collapsed. Even Leaf Saint didn't notice anything. There are only a handful of people in the God realm and Abyss who are capable of such a feat, so it's clear that it wasn't us who did it. More importantly, when he died, his face was filled with shock. He didn't even have the time to inform his elder brother. Clearly, his death was very sudden. Temporal Island Lord said, This situation has happened twice before. This is the third time. There's a 99% chance that it's the ancestor mother religion. Bloodblade asked, Did he leave behind any treasures on his body? Those who were silenced would know some secrets about the ancestor mother religion. Since he died, they could only investigate the treasures he left behind. I've already investigated. Other than a unique communication treasure, there aren't any other suspicious items. Temporal Island Lord said, According to what I know, Bamboo Saint's true body was killed by Dongbua Shui a dozen days ago. Many of his treasures landed in the hands of Dongbua Shui. He's your disciple, so I'm here to meet you. Snow Eagle? Bloodblade was slightly startled. All right, I'll summon him now. Black Fog Sea, Underground Palace. Dongbua Shui was currently looking at the countless words on the black metal with an intoxicated expression. There was a large amount of information on it, and they were all records of comprehending the laws and profound mysteries. The person who could write down these records has an extraordinary realm and a unique way of thinking. Dongbua Shui felt that these would be of great help to him. Suddenly, Dongbua, do you know that Bamboo Saint is dead? Paragon Huicheng transmitted a message. Dead? Dongbua Shui was startled. He immediately tried to sense the karma of Bamboo Saint, yet he could not sense the karma of Bamboo Saint at all. Clearly, his true body and avatar had been destroyed. Aren't you the one who sent people to assassinate him? Isn't your Bloodshed Tavern specialized in assassination? Paragon Huicheng asked. No, of course it isn't me. He's with his elder brother. It's too difficult to assassinate him. Dongbua Shui answered. Closely following that, more messages came. Monarch Dongbua, Bamboo Saint is dead. Monarch, do you know about this? This was a message from the Calm Sea Prefecture Master. Bamboo Saint's death is related to you. Snow Eagle? This was a message from Jing Xiao. One by one, he transmitted a message to inquire. After all, the death of a powerful existence was enough to shake the entire deity world and dark abyss. Thus, it was common for one's avatar to be killed. After all, it was common for people to lose their avatars when they fought or entered dangerous places like ruins. However, both the true body and the avatar had been destroyed. This was extremely rare because any powerful cultivator would be extremely cautious. At the very least, they would protect one of their bodies. Bamboo Saint was an existence that was close to the Paragon realm. With such strength, both his true body and avatar had been destroyed just like that. This naturally attracted a lot of attention. Just 10 days ago, Dongbua Shui Ying had just killed his way into Bamboo Saint's lair and killed his true body. This naturally caused many powerful existences to speculate in their hearts. Snow Eagle, come to me. A voice resounded in his ears. Teacher. Dongbua Shui Ying was startled. Even his teacher had summoned him. Could it be that he suspected that he was the culprit? Dongbua Shui Ying, who was filled with frustration and helplessness, did not care about his worries. He immediately left the Black Fog Sea at his fastest speed, rushing towards the Bloodshed God Palace. Within the small courtyard of the wooden house in the Bloodshed God Palace, Dongbua Shui Ying pushed open the courtyard door and entered. With a glance, he saw two figures seated within, as well as a cold figure standing by the side. The two seated there, Dongbua Shui Ying immediately recognized as his teacher and the Abyss Primogenitor. This gave him a fright. Standing by the side was a black-robed, black-haired male with a cold expression. What made Dongbua Shui Ying even more apprehensive was the Temporal Island Lord. Truthfully speaking, Dongbua Shui Ying was both fearful and displeased of the Temporal Island Lord. The main reason was because the Temporal Island Lord had used the Temporal Temple to capture countless living beings, forcing them to take on dangerous missions. He had left a technique on their souls, controlling their life and death. Dongbua Shui Ying disliked such actions. Treating billions and billions of living beings as puppets was something Dongbua Shui Ying could not agree with. Furthermore, after coming to the deity world, the more he understood about the Temporal Island Lord, the more he disliked him. Amongst the rulers, Dongbua Shui Ying disliked him the most. Greetings, teacher, Abyss Primogenitor, Temporal Island Lord. Dongbua Shui Ying respectfully bowed. The Abyss Primogenitor smiled and nodded. He was quite amiable. The Temporal Island Lord coldly glanced at Dongbua Shui Ying before turning his head to look at the void by the side. He was too lazy to care about him. Clearly, he did not like this Dongbua Shui Ying either. Chapter 640. Although the Temporal Island Lord was standing coldly by the side, Dongbua Shui Ying still maintained his smile. The Temporal Island Lord, who was a high and mighty ruler, could show him disrespect, but Dongbua Shui Ying still had to maintain the most basic level of respect. Naturally, in his heart, he still did not like this Temporal Island Lord. Snow Eagle, Bloodblade, placed his wine cup down and said, The reason why I called you over is because of the death of Bamboo Saint. His death is very strange. Master wouldn't suspect that this disciple did it, right? This disciple doesn't have the ability to do so. Dongbua Shui Ying said, Right now, there are many rumors going around, and there were quite a number of people guessing that it was him who did it. Of course it wasn't you. Bloodblade laughed. Dongbua Brat, if you were able to do it, you would be a ruler. The Abyss Primogenitor by the side also laughed. Dongbua Shui Ying was startled. Ruler? Could it be that the one behind this was a ruler? There were only a few rulers in the entire deity world and Abyss. Furthermore, the status of a ruler was extremely high. To deal with a single Bamboo Saint? With just a slight command, Bamboo Saint would have to surrender and beg for forgiveness. Why would there be a need to kill him in secret? The reason why I'm looking for you is because the treasures he accumulated have fallen into your hands a few days ago. Bloodblade said, We have some suspicions towards Bamboo Saint's identity, so we wish to take a look at the items he left behind. This disciple is bringing them along with him. Dongbua Shui Ying reported. Take them out, and let us take a look. Bloodblade instructed. Dongbua Shui Ying did not hesitate. With a wave of his hand, he took out all the items he obtained from Bamboo Saint. This included god crystals, faith stones, precious materials, weapons, robes, etc. Naturally, some of them were not given to Chihuahua Laozu. However, those items originally belonged to Chihuahua Laozu, so it shouldn't be a problem. The gazes of Bloodblade, Abyssal Primogenitor, and Temporal Island Lord landed on these items. The black-robed, black-haired temporal island lord suddenly saw those black metal plates. He waved his hand, causing one of the black metal plates to land in his hand. He casually looked at it before sneering. These fools from the ancestor mother religion do have some comprehension ability. They actually have such an understanding of the cultivation system of our cosmos. Even though the angle of their pondering is slightly strange, the person recorded on this metal plate should have reached the opening realm. Bloodblade and the abyssal primogenitor each picked up a black metal tablet. Amen. Those fellows from the ancestor mother religion might be stupid, but their strength is there. It is normal for them to have such a comprehension after researching our cultivation system. Bloodblade evaluated. These fellows have hidden themselves and are secretly learning our cultivation methods. Their strength is also increasing. They might become a disaster in the future, the Abyss Primogenitor said worriedly. There's no need to worry about those fools. The Temporal Island Lord was filled with disdain. Bloodblade waved his hand, causing that bronze lamp to fly over. Bloodblade looked at it before coldly chuckling. They have come to our place and are still spreading their religion. Dongbua Ying was obediently listening by the side. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Ancestor mother religion, the cultivation system of our cosmos. Snow Eagle, I'll be taking this lamp away. It's not beneficial for you to keep it. Bloodblade said, you can keep the rest. The ancestor mother religion's understanding of the law of the world is more unique. It can be considered as analyzing it from another angle. It will still be of some help to you. Yes. Dongbua Ying waved his hand before keeping everything. Temporal Island Lord and Abyss Primogenitor no longer continued watching. They knew what they needed to know. The most unique and evil lamp had been taken away by God Emperor, and the remaining ones were ordinary. All right, you can leave now. But remember, be careful if you meet anyone from the ancestor mother religion in the future. They might target you after this matter. Bloodblade said, these fellows are like locusts collecting all sorts of precious materials in our cosmos. Bamboo Saints should have collected all sorts of rare and weird materials for them. Now that they are in your hands, they might target you. Bloodshed God Emperor was just saying. This disciple of his was a material realm lord, and was not in any danger of losing his life. Target me? Dongbua Ying could not help but ask, Teacher, what is the origin of the ancestor mother religion? They are the mysterious experts that I've mentioned to you before. They do not have karmic lines. Bloodblade said. Temporal Island Lord sneered from the side. Bloodblade, those without karmic lines might not be from the ancestor mother religion. Bloodblade laughed after hearing that. He nodded. Those without karmic lines have a 99% chance of being from the ancestor mother religion. There is also a slight possibility of them being from other cosmos. Other cosmos? Dongbua Ying was even more puzzled. Bloodblade did not hide it. Clearly, he felt that Dongbua Ying would come in contact with these with his strength. Amen. The ancestor mother religion came from another cosmos. Their cultivation system is completely different from ours. They do not cultivate the inner world, nor do they comprehend the laws and profound mysteries. They believe in the so-called ancestor mother and have cultivated an unfathomable fleshy body. Their fleshy body is much stronger than us cultivators. Naturally, they are too weak in the laws and profound mysteries aspect, so playing with them is still easy. Not cultivating the inner world and not comprehending the laws and profound mysteries, yet they are very strong. Dongbua Ying did not understand. After cultivating for so many years, he only knew how to comprehend the laws and profound mysteries, transcend, and open one's own Tao. Regardless, realms are the foundation. But the ancestor mother religion that came from another cosmos was completely different. You are too young and have too little experience. Bloodblade laughed. Wait until you become stronger and experience more. By then, these will no longer be strange. Different cosmoses are entirely different. Like your fifth uncle master, he was brought back from a cosmos that I enter by chance. Thus, you will discover that he does not have any karmic lines either. Fifth uncle master? Dongbua Ying looked at that blackbird. He had always felt that his fifth Uncle Master was mysterious. Just a feather made him feel that it was unfathomable. But he had always been following his teacher and did not have any karmic lines either. Dongbua Shui even suspected that it was some non-living existence. Only now did he know that it came from another cosmos. Humph. My master has died, and I am very lonely. Thus, I was lured here by Bloodblade. The black bird muttered, "You are the greedy one." Bloodblade chuckled. "All right, go. Properly cultivate and try to transcend first." Bloodblade said, "Yes." Dongbua Shui nodded. The ancestor mother religion, fifth Uncle Master, and other guests from other cosmos, he did not need to be distracted. He should focus on comprehending the laws and profound mysteries and transcend first. Dongbua Shui respectfully bowed before leaving. Sending off Dongbua Shui with his eyes, Temporal Island Lord sneered, "Bloodblade, you are quite concerned about your disciple. Why are you telling him so much when he is just a stage 4 world deity? Do you think he can't transcend?" Bloodblade nonchalantly said. He was confident in his disciple. Temporal Island Lord did not say anything else. Even he felt that with Dongbua Shui Ying's cultivation speed and profound accumulation of his realm, transcending would be an easy matter. Abyss Primogenitor. Temporal Island Lord turned to Abyss Primogenitor. "Your disciple's luck is not bad. That pair of deity world creatures actually turned into the starting ground talisman." Ha. Abyss Primogenitor laughed heartily. His luck is good. There's no helping it. His disciple had subdued 2 deity world creatures. Who would have thought that when these 2 deity world creatures met, they actually turned into 2 lumps of dazzling light and fused together, turning into a talisman? Because there were many experts present at that time, it could not be concealed. Ordinary cultivators and even paragons might not understand what that talisman represented. They only knew that it was definitely some sort of precious treasure. However, rulers knew that it was the key to enter the starting ground. The talisman of the starting ground, when it was split, would be in all sorts of shapes and sizes. It might be 2 pieces of torn cloth, or even 2 real deity world creatures, or even slightly more precious materials. However, the moment the different parts were gathered together, they would immediately fuse together, turning into a talisman. Once the talisman recognized its master, there was no way to snatch it away. Even if it was killed, the talisman would vanish into thin air. In order to obtain it, one needed strength and luck. However, tell him to be careful. Don't die the first time he enters. Temporal Island Lord hurriedly said. Bloodshed God Emperor chuckled from the side. "I remember you saying that you once obtained the starting ground talisman, but it's a pity that your avatar died inside during the opening realm. The talisman disappeared, and you no longer have the chance to enter." Humph. At least I have obtained it before. You haven't. Temporal Island Lord turned and left. With a swoosh, he flew away and disappeared into the distant void. Bloodblade sent him off with his gaze. He then said softly, "I have never been there, but I am much stronger than you." That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.